Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today. It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today. Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today. Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today. It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today. Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new, lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Sector 1. We are here for day number 2 of the Motorsport Australia Gran Turismo Esports Challenge of 2024. My name once again is Lenosis, and joining me in the commentary box is your Category 2 race director, Snake Eyes. How are we doing tonight, Snake Eyes?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks, yourself.
Yeah, pretty alright. After the brilliant racing action we had last night, in the heats, the 6 heats that we had, lots of highs and lows, a couple of people getting a bit caught up in some incidents going off track, and a little bit of rain as well. I mean, these top Australian Gran Turismo drivers, they were giving each other a good challenge, and it was brilliant to watch these guys, masters of their craft, go at it. And yeah, I mean, lots of brilliant races over the last 24 hours, but everyone's qualified for the finals. We have 2 finals tonight. The Category 2 final at Suzuka in the 2 Group 4 cars, and we also have the Category 1 final in the RBX 2019 at Le Mans. But without further ado, here is the track map for tonight. This is how they shape up at Suzuka. It's a 5.8 kilometer circuit, 18 turns. It's a 10-minute qualifying, followed by a 20-lap final. It's the Racing Soft only, the 4x tires and the 2x fuel wear. Now, this is different in the fact that it's the only race in this competition that has multiple cars for use. These guys are able to settle their allegiances, and they get to pick their favorite between either the Subaru WRX Group 4 and the Mitsubishi Evo Final Group 4. So should be very, very interesting to see a good mix of the two Group 4 cars on the grid. Very excited to see the racing action, how those two different cars shape up against one another on track. Snake Eyes.
Yeah, I personally don't really have any experience with either of them, but it's going to be interesting to see how close the two cars are. I'm pretty sure that we'll find that where one might be a little stronger in one area, one will pick it up somewhere else. So, yeah, it should be some really good close battling by the look of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, these guys, they've been driving Group 3 machinery the entire heats, and now they're thrown into the deep end, and they've got a Group 4 car to handle, and they've had the last 24 hours or so to get adjusted to that car. So it'll just be interesting to see how these guys tackle the challenge. I mean, of course, it just depends on their driving style, as this car, or these cars, I should say, are very front-end heavy, and you'll see those front tires wearing out extremely quickly. So I expect to see 2 or even 3 stop strategies being thrown into the mix. It's only 20 laps. Should be about a 40-minute race, 45-minute race for these guys. But yeah, it affects everything, that front tire wear. They start to wear out. You get the understeer, and you get about 1 or 2 laps done in quali, and then you need to change tires. So definitely interesting to see how these guys tackle the challenge. But before we get too much further, let's have a look at the heats standings from last night. This is how the points were settled last night after the 6 heat races to set the grids. Of course, the top 14 is the guys competing in the Category 1 final, with the 15 to 25 the guys competing in the Category 2 final. So coming up next will be James Allen, Luke Stone, Connor Kushlik, Heath Pillip, Kevin Cooper, Jacques Bezidenhout, Alex Boehm, Matthew Smith, Scott James, Angus Dumsus, and Matt Callum will be the guys lining up on the Category 2 grid. And we have Andrew Lee, Josh Struick, Ryan Tame, Xavier Wakefield, Matthew Simmons, Josh Green, Joshua Law, Connor Butler, Sam Leung, Jackson Austin, Liam Tame, Paul Candonolian, Gopi Mahindajit, and Aidan Matthews all qualifying for the Category 1 final. So should definitely be a very interesting bunch of races. We had a very competitive heats stage last night, which saw a lot of people unable to qualify for that top 14 final and having to settle for the second final. Now, unfortunately, there's no prizes for the Category 2 final. However, these guys will still be battling it out for sheep stations and some scream time. So we're looking forward to seeing them all on track. So not too much longer. We're not far away from our 10-minute qualifying session. I believe we're just waiting on one more driver. Is that correct, Snake Eyes?
Yeah, I believe so. I might give him a bit of a ping again in the Discord and see if we can hunt someone up.
Yeah. So yeah, nice to see everybody rocking up in the chat tonight. We've already got 30 or so people rocking up to support their favourite drivers. We've got, as we did last night, some familiar names and also a couple of new faces. We've got Robert Rice in chat. We've got Bumcrack, Heartstopper, Karen Unleashed, Banana Josh, Evolution Sim Racing. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Nice to see you all in the chat tonight. Make sure to smash the like button. And it's good luck to your favourite driver if you hit the like button. Trust me, I totally did not just come up with that on the spot. But I think we're still waiting. Who are we waiting on? Because I think Jacques Bezidenhout has pulled out, but we are waiting on one more person, potentially. Do you know who we're missing, Snake Eyes? Or
No, I'm just trying to see, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks like maybe could be we're missing Angus Dumtsis. Well, if you're watching Angus, make sure to join the Category 2 lobby at the as soon as possible. Otherwise, you will be missing out on the Category 2 final. I don't think we should wait too much longer because otherwise we are going to run behind schedule.
Don't think I can ping him either.
All right. Well,
I don't know what his name is in the.
Yeah, we're going to just have to make the decision, and we're going to have to get started without him, unfortunately. But we should have 9 in this Category 2 final, which is enough to go racing.
It certainly is.
Whenever you're ready, what have you painted your button today?
I was actually been a bit busy, and I've come in and I've noticed that someone had knocked the whole box on the ground, and the button. The top's come off it, so I've had to sort of slap it back together with a bit of tape and a few zip ties. And so that's how it's looking at the moment.
Okay. Bit dogsy.
Yeah.
I reckon it was John last night.
It's probably. We won't go there, how that might have happened.
All right, so whenever you're ready, you can start up this qualifying session.
All right, good luck, drivers.
Good luck, everybody. Looking forward to the couple of hours of racing action that we're about to watch tonight. If the heats last night were anything to go by, should be a brilliant event.
Okay. Hopefully GT7 is going to be nice and let us... Yeah, guys are moving.
Drivers making their way out onto the circuit. And looks like we do have a good mix of cars out there as well. A couple of Subarus, a couple of Evos. Nice to see. As we see, we'll wait for them to go through the first timing line, as then we will sort of get a proper idea of what cars everybody has and the order they are out on track. I believe it's James Allen who is the first driver out on track there, and he is sporting a Subaru. We have, yeah, these guys. Why is Gran Turismo doing Gran Turismo things as it typically does? And it's mixed up the order of all the cars for us, which makes things difficult. There we go. So James Allen out on track in the Subaru. We have Scott James who has chosen a Mitsubishi, and we have Kevin Cooper out on track in the Hooncorp colours in a Subaru. Luke Stone gone the way of the Subi. We've got Connor Kushalik in it's a Subaru. We have Matt McCullum in another Subaru. We have Matthew Smith choosing a Mitsubishi. Heath Phillip in a Mitsubishi Evo. And Alex Bowen in a Subaru to complete the 9 drivers in tonight's Category 2 final. So definitely a mix. I think that was 5 and 4, if I'm not mistaken. So usually from what we've seen, the Evo is better on fuel, and both cars are pretty similar on tyres. So what we've done with these settings is we've essentially taken fuel out of the occasion. These guys should have enough fuel to make it all the way to the end of the race without putting any in the tank. So it'll purely be whichever car and driver is quickest out there. They will need to change tyres, of course, being at 4 times and the soft tyre is the only available tyre. I mentioned it earlier, they should be maybe 2 stops, maybe 3 stops, because it should be about 2 stops. I don't think anybody will do 3 stops, because they should be able to do 7 or 8 laps on a set of tyres. So we might see some guys coming in a little bit early to change their tyres, get onto a fresh set, and just even out their stints just a tad. As we see these guys start their first flying laps of the day.
Just actually seeing how much tyre wear there is on the front tyres after 1 lap. So, yeah, I see what you were talking about before, how front heavy they are and how hard they are on those front tyres.
Yeah, of course, these guys do have brake balance to play with. They can adjust that. That's the only in-car system that they can... Oh, no, they can also change traction control. So it's ABS and traction control for this Category 2 final. But the brake bias is really the only thing that they can sort of use to attempt to stay away from that tyre wear. But even slamming that brake bias all the way to +5, which would be rearward in the car, you're still burning out those fronts at an extortionate rate. So it's really going to be whoever's as light-footed as possible can treat those tyres, maybe take them out to dinner. That's going to be the driver who comes away with a race win here tonight.
Yeah, even across the board, after not even quite 2 laps, there's quite a significant difference between a few of the cars as well. So, you know, that could be just others looking for a little bit of a draft or something to try and help them with a lap time. Or it could be that some of them have just gone out and putting it all on the line for that second lap. So,
yeah, as it is quite a long track in the Group 4 machinery, I don't know whether these guys will be able to get around and into the pits to put on a new set of tyres. So they just get... Oh, they are. So James Allen has come straight into the pits. He hasn't bothered setting a banker lap. So it will be Scott James, the first driver, to set a lap around here. Crosses the line to 2:11. Will be Kevin Cooper next, who goes slower, 4/10 slower. Luke Stone does go a second clear at the top. A 2:10.2, I should say. Connor Kushlik into the pits as well. It will be Matthew McCullum, the next driver to cross the line. And he goes 4th quickest there. With Heath Pellip straight to the top of the times. Great lap from him. Goes a second clear of Luke Stone with a 9:1. Alex Bowen slots into 4th spot there. As we see James Allen rejoining the track just ahead of, I believe that's Matthew McCullum. No, who is that? Who am I looking at? There's somebody behind James Allen, and I will find them eventually. I'm not going to find them, actually. I have no idea who it was who was sitting behind James Allen. But there we go. Connor Kushlik rejoining the circuit as well. It's coming into the S's section there. So Heath Pellip, brilliant lap from him. Straight off the bat, a 2:09.1, a second clear of Luke Stone, who himself is the second clear of Scott James in 3rd. Alex Bowen currently holding on to 4th place over Kevin Cooper in 5th. Matthew Smith is in 6th. We see Matt McCullum in 7th. I did get it right the first time. It was Matt McCullum. That's what I thought it was, but I couldn't find him on track for some reason. James Allen is... Oh, as we see Connor Kushlik going off at the Dunlop S's there. Not turns. We'll have a look on the Liquid Solutions action replay, see if we can catch what happened as he came through the last bit of the S's. And what's happened here? Too much curb, rear end spat him out sideways, very easy to do. Seen that happen time and time again. Finds himself in the kitty litter, unfortunately, but he continues back on. That was only an outlap as well, so it's not going to affect him in any way. But first few drivers, or more drivers coming to the pits, I should say. Scott James peels in to put on some more rubber. We see Kevin Cooper going 3rd place there with a 2:10.8. And we also have Luke Stone into the pits after his first flying lap. I imagine we'll see Heath Phillip in there as well. We do. Matt McCullum goes 4th place with a 2:11 flat. He'll be very happy with that lap. 1.8 seconds away of the pace. We see Alex Bowen goes 5th place with a 2:11.2. 2/10 off Matt McCullum. Heath Pillip in the pits still. He's burned about 10% of fuel, and we're about a couple of minutes into this session. We've got 2.5 minutes to go, so not too much longer.
I was just busy looking at Scott James's livery. Man, that's a decent looking livery.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good livery from Scott James. They're very striking. He's got a Grim Reaper on the side.
It's just looking too that some of those that haven't pitted, their front tyres are probably below half.
Very interesting, and they've only done about 4 laps or so.
Yeah, I know they're probably going hard at it, but I mean, you know, that's a fair bit of tyre gone.
Which makes you think, 20-lap race, if they are light on their tyres, they might be able to just extend that stint out to about 10 laps. And maybe you start to talk about the 1-stop potentially. I mean, I still think the 2-stop would be the way to go for most of these guys, but if you find a particular driver who is very light on their tyres, manages to treat those tyres very nicely, we could even see a 1-stop potentially.
Yeah, I'm just interested because I was watching Payload. I'm not sure, is it Allen?
Yeah, James Allen there.
Yeah, my names that are coming up probably a bit different than yours. I've had a bit of a play, couldn't get them to change. But he was the first one to pit, and he didn't even log in a lap. But so I was just interested to see if he was just trying to dump a bit of fuel before he hit it. And he's coming to the line. Yep, there we go.
Straight to the top of the times for James Allen there. 209 flat. Goes just a couple of hundredths ahead of Heath Pillip there, who rejoins the circuit just behind him, has put on a fresh set of rubber. He's not going to have time to go around and set a lap. So Heath Pillip's going to go no higher than second place, and we'll have to see where everybody slots in behind them as Luke Stone starts his lap, barreling down towards the sweeping turn 1. Kevin Cooper through the S's now. Connor Kushalik goes 4th quickest. Great lap from him. I believe that was his first representative lap as well, because he would have pit on the first... No, he did the first lap, then pit on the second, and then he set his lap just then. And everybody else who's currently on a lap, that's all they're going to set. So Alex Bowen is in the pits as well. Matt McCullum has a penalty, so he's going to go no higher than 6th place here.
Yeah. El Stone has still got good tyres, so has, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. We'll just keep going down. McCullum, he's pretty worn. If he's up behind him, he might get past. Yep, because he's got a penalty. Scott James is probably another one. He's come in and got fresh tyres, and oh no, he's on an outlap, so he's not probably going to make it either.
Oh, I don't think so. It looks like he's on a flyer. He's 1 minute 30 as he rounds the spoon curve.
No, that's my...
Not too sure why that lap 4 has been invalidated for him. Potentially a penalty somewhere along that lap. But as he comes through 130R.
He has pitted, so maybe it's the out lap.
Potentially. As he comes into the final chicane now. It's looking like a pretty decent lap if he can get to the start-finish line. What's it going to be? This looks like it might be a ripper lap. No, he is going to go quicker, but not enough. He'll be one of the first to cross the line as we see everyone else crossing the line. Luke Stone proves his lap, but not his position. Stays P3 as we see Connor Kushalik about to cross the line. Is he up on his time? Looks like he might be. As he approaches the line, oh, can't quite get the better of Luke Stone there, but stays P4. One more driver out on track, and I don't know who it is. Let's find who it is. It's Matthew Smith, but he has a penalty, unfortunately. So that's all she's going to write for Matthew Smith. As I think we have to wait the entire time as Alex Bowen is in the pit lane, unfortunately. But, yeah, wow, what a session. James Allen, it was a do-or-die lap for him. He turned it into a sort of one-shot qualifying lap. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. As we are about to have a look at the results as the session has officially ended. And here we go. This is how they shape up for the starting grid in the Category 1 final. James Allen takes pole position in the WRX with a 209 flat Heath Pillip takes second place at 209.1, just 8 hundredths separating those two. Luke Stone not too far away, 3/10 shy of pole position, sits in third place with Connor Kushalik alongside, occupying the second row of the grid. We have Kevin Cooper taking 5th place with Matthew McCullum alongside, Alex Bowen in 7th. Scott James is 8th place at the moment. And we have Matthew Smith has the 5th row all to himself. Unable to set a proper lap there for Matthew Smith. So he will be starting from the rear of the grid. But that's how they line up for the Category 2 final. Very, very interesting session. We saw lots of laps coming in. We saw Scott James there, who was sitting 3rd for a long time in that session. But then at the last moment, he fell short, and everybody else managed to get a clean lap in before the session ended, and he finds himself starting all the way down in a P8, I should say. So yeah, what are your thoughts, Snake Eyes?
Yeah, I thought it was quite a good qualifying, actually. It's good to see they're pretty close. Like, I know there's a bit of a spread across the board, but like, you know, the first 4 are really close, and then the next sort of 4 are really close. I think Payload sort of done a bit of a sneaky there. Not saying he did anything wrong, obviously. He's done the right thing, and he's hasn't even put in a banker lap. He's pulled in, you know, got a fresh set of tyres, because I was going to say his front tyres were probably the worst worn that I could see. So he's, you know, dropped a bit of fuel out of it, hasn't even worried about a banker, and threw the whole pot in, you know, gambled the whole lot for that one good lap, and it worked out for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you say we don't keep these guys waiting any longer, and let's get straight into the 20-lap final here for Category 2.
Yeah, sounds good.
Smashing the taped up and cable-tied big red button.
Yeah, it's a little bit wonky at the moment.
The wonky big button.
The wonky big button, yeah. Sounds like a Wiggles song.
It does too. As we're about to go racing here at Suzuka, the grid has been set. As we head to the track, the drivers lined up and waiting here. As the light sequence begins, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And they are out and racing here at Suzuka Circuit for the Category 2 final. As James Allen gets off to a brilliant start, but we see the Evo on the inside of Heath Pillip under a lot of pressure from Luke Stone. Luke Stone sweeps around the outside as we see Matthew. No, that was, somebody in the background going off. Was it 2 cars, 1 car? It was Matthew Smith in the Lancer who goes off, but these guys through the S's now managed to keep themselves single file for the most part. Heath Pillip has dropped a position to Luke Stone off the line. So it's a Subaru 1-2 at the moment, as these guys complete the first sector. Any moves for now? No. Single file for these guys.
It's looking pretty clean, and everyone got a really good start by the look of it too. It was almost like everything was synchronized.
Yeah, absolutely. As they head through to the hairpin now, James Allen is 7 tenths to the good, an advantage at the top. Oh, as we hear somebody going off in the background, it is Matt McCullum, who's facing the wrong way at the hairpin. It's a disaster for Matthew McCullum. As we have a look on the Liquid Solutions action replay at just what happened there. As he approached the hairpin, what's happened? Oh, was it too much? Oh, the rear end came round. I think it was too much grass. He ended up facing the wrong way, almost getting in the way of Matthew Smith there, but he rejoins the circuit a little while off the back. Oh, it was Heath Pillip down the inside of Luke Stone as they head up towards 130R. He's going to have the inside line. Luke Stone has to give way as we see Heath Pillip takes the position up into second place. The Evo is moving.
I reckon he doesn't want to let Payload get away, because he's got his foot down and he's going.
Absolutely.
1.5 seconds out already.
Heath Phillip isn't going to give this up. These top 4 drivers, they were all capable of booking their ticket to the Category 1 final, but missing out by just a couple of points. But they're here now, and they're as competitive as ever, competing for this Category 2 title.
Yeah, bragging rights sometimes means more than a couple of bucks, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Starting to spread out a little bit.
We have a look back on the replay to this move. Looked like it was just a poor exit from Luke Stone. And Heath Phillip didn't need the slipstream. He just pulled alongside and then out-muscled Luke Stone in a straight line. And when they got to 130R, Luke Stone had to back out and avoid. Otherwise, there would have been contact between the two of them.
Looking at Renegade 2, Kevin Cooper, he's running a really nice livery from the Hoon Court, but he's got himself a half a second penalty. That might drop him right back into Scott James's grips too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. The number 17 car, track limits catching him off guard a little bit there. Not too sure where he would have picked that up though. There's not too many places on the circuit where you can get a penalty. Most likely the final chicane. That's really the only place, and spoon curve as they're coming into now, you can get a penalty if you run wide. But yeah, hard to get it right this circuit, especially once those front tyres start to wear away. It's very hard to keep the car turned in as it starts to understeer and you find yourself off the circuit. As Kevin Cooper serves that penalty. Will Scott James be able to get by? No, not quite. He'll have to slot in behind for 7th place for now. As we see Heath Phillip closing up that gap to under a second to James Allen at the moment at the top of the field.
I know we're only started our 3rd lap, but should we have a quick look at the tyres?
Yeah, we might as
too
well
early,
have an
you
APR tyre and fuel update.
Because I see Heafy's actually, Heafy's, he's punching pretty hard and he's dropping that time down. And I would hazard to guess that his front tyres are just that little bit better than Allen's as well. Just that little bit better. It seems that payload is just that little bit heavy on those front tyres, but man, he is pushing hard. So Heafy's just gone purple. Go to, is it Luke Stone? He's probably, his wear is probably similar to payloads, maybe a little bit more. Don't know who that person is, unfortunately, that's running currently in 4th.
Connor Kushlik.
Kushlik, okay, I'll probably never remember that one. It's been one of those weekends, to be honest. He's probably very similar to Heafy and Stone, and so is Brown. Renegade, he's actually looking one of the better ones, the same as Scott James. He's looking pretty decent as well. M. Smith, he's got quite a fair bit of wear, and M. McCullum, he's looking pretty good. I won't worry about the fuel because let's just say they're probably all gonna make it through on one tank anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Snake Eyes, for the APR tyre and fuel update.
I think you could be right though. They could be on for a 3-stop here. I'm not sure what these cars are like once those front tyres are all the way down. So,
I mean, there definitely is a cliff. Once you hit that cliff, it completely drops off and the lap time goes astray. But is it worth sticking it out a couple of laps after that cliff drop off just because the pit stop is quite long? It's quite a long transit time here at Suzuka, upwards of about 30 seconds just for tyres. So it's all just strategy that I'm sure these guys would have figured out over the last day or so.
Heafy, sorry, but Heafy's got a half-second penalty as well.
Oh.
And he's dropped off a little bit. He was up a bit closer, but he's dropped off a little bit back to about a second, so...
Yeah, that's not going to do him any favours.
Nah, I'm sure Earlstone's looking at that, smiling as well.
Exactly. But half-second penalties, it's weird around here, especially in this Group 4 category. They don't lose you too much time. So I imagine Luke Stone and Heath Phillip are going to be very, very tight when they get to 130R. Whether Luke Stone's able to make that move work, we'll just have to wait and see as they come up through to the hairpin at the moment. Which Heath Phillip has the fastest lap of the race as well, which he did on lap 2, a 2:08.5, which is half a second quicker than the pole time. How's that?
Yeah, he's putting it out.
Laying rubber on the track.
Coming up to what I'd say would be one of the trickiest corners on this track.
Especially in this Group 4 car, where you just find it sucking you to the outside as the induced understeer, due to it being four-wheel drive on power, it's difficult to get right. And spoon curve, it just sucks you to the outside. And as soon as you get onto the ripple strip and onto the AstroTurf, you find yourself facing the wrong way, looking at the person right behind you.
Yeah, that didn't seem to affect Heafy too much at all. Like, it's dropped him back half a second, but it hasn't. Because quite often a half a second penalty will lose you like a second.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't as much of a loss as what's normally to be expected.
Yeah. Depends on the placement of where you got to serve that penalty too. Sometimes it'll sort of do you over for 2 laps, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see Alex Bowen and Scott James going at it, they're neck and neck, with Scott James tucked right up into that slipstream. Will he go for a move into the first turn?
What I say is Renegade popped himself up into 5th as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He's ahead of Alex Bowen and Scott James there.
He's actually put himself quite a bit up as well. He's put himself... I'm pretty sure he was running 6th before.
And he's not far off Connor Kushlik either. 4 seconds astray. Quarter of the way through the race here. Approaching the 10-minute mark. So how are these guys looking for tyres, by the way?
I will run back through it again. Payload is looking down to his worst tyres, probably about 15%. Heafy still probably got a good 30% on... close to 30% on his worst. Stone, he'd be down to 20%. Kuselik, he's down to 25%. Renegade, probably 30%. Alan Bowen, he's probably down to 20% as well. Scott James, he's probably got the best tyres that I can see. He's probably got a good 45, nearly 50% on his tyres. And Smith, he's quite low on his fronts. He's probably got maybe 10%. And McCullen, he'd be around the 40-45% as well. So there's quite a spread, but I'd be thinking to myself that I don't know if Payload's going to get too much further on those front tyres, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whereas Heafy, I'd say, would be good for another lap at least.
Yeah, and you can really see this gap between Allen and Phillip. It's down to just 0.3. Phillip able to just push Allen here. This is the closest he's been all stint, and using that tyre advantage to really reel in James Allen here in the latter stages of this first phase of the race.
Yeah, he's right. I'm surprised that Allen's going around for another lap, to be honest. I know he would lose that. He's going to lose that time in the pits, but with the amount of, he's about to lose one of his tyres altogether, I would think.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They're only on lap 6, but as you saw, as he goes for the move for the lead, as Heath Phillip gets it done at the end of the S's.
Yeah, Allen's right front tyre is completely gone. His left is hasn't got much in it, maybe a few %. But that might be his plan too. He's going to probably sit on the back of Heafy, and if he can actually hang with him a bit, get a bit of slipstream, he might do all right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just comes down to because they're on lap 6, and if he's lost all of his tyres, that means he's going to have to do 2 stints of 7. So if he gets his 7 out of the way now, that means that later in the race he'll be able to do a stint of only 6 laps on the lower fuel load, which will treat his tyres a little bit better. But also it could go the other way too. The fuel tank's in the back of the car. Oh no, yeah, that is right. The lighter it gets, the more that the front tyres would dig into the ground and get more grip. Not scrubbing as much. As I think what's causing most of this tyre wear for these front tyres is the fact that on the power, the tyres are scrubbing a lot. And if you lose traction control, you lose pace. And that's the only real way to drive these, to get pace out of them. So, yeah, the more into the stint you go, the better the tyre wear is going to be on those front tyres.
Yeah, so if he's going around, payload's in. I think Stone will come in, yep.
Does Kushalik go around for one more time? Yes, he does. The first Subaru to go around once again for lap number 7.
I'd say, someone must have... Gets a little bit confusing sometimes as different ones start to come in. Yeah, there's a few of them going to go around for another lap that have looked after their tyres pretty well.
Which, look at this for the pace drop-off as well. You see James Allen and Heath Pillip. They're still only lapping about a second off their quick pace between a full tank, fresh tyres and completely worn tyres. I mean, we sort of got robbed a little bit of seeing the pace drop off for Allen on that last lap, just because he did pull into the pits, but I would imagine that pace drop off would have been to the tune of 2 or 3 seconds, unfortunately.
Yeah, whereas Heafy, like you say, all of his... Like his second lap he's got the fastest lap, but even the laps after that, like he's done a 209, 210, 210, 210, like his consistency is great. He's looked after those tyres and he's pulling another lap out of the bag. So, whereas even if they do lose a little bit of time on this lap, some of the guys, compared to a fresh tyre, it will come back to them in the race, especially if they can go home on a 6-lapper instead of a 7.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have James Allen on fresh tyres attacking Alex Bowen, who is yet to stop as Alex Bowen runs wide. Oh, that's what I was talking about on the AstroTurf before. Massive tank slapper. That's what you call car control for Alex Bowen there. Very, very good display of car control. Manages to hold on to it. As we'll have a look on Liquid Solutions Action Replay at what happened here. I believe he just ran wide onto the ripple strip, onto the AstroTurf, and the rear end shot out. Huge correction there to keep it pointing in the right direction. That's some good stuff for Alex Bowen. I imagine he'll pit on this lap as his tyres are not looking very good. As Heath Pillip and Connor Kushalik, Renegade, Kevin Cooper, Scott James, everyone's into the pits. Now the question is, does Pillip come out ahead or behind of James Allen?
Yeah, that's
the question is behind.
He does too.
James Allen flies by into the lead of the race. The undercut is worth about 2 seconds here, 1.5 seconds as it settles down. 2 seconds as he was behind Heath Phillip as he came to the pits. But what that does mean is that Allen is on a lap older tyres, and we saw the difference between 1 lap of wear. That is crucial in this race.
Yeah, very much so. What Heafy's just lost by doing that 1 extra lap will really come back to him.
Once Pillip gets these tyres warmed up, I would imagine that he will start to really come onto his own and give it 2 or 3 laps. I don't think the gap will decrease too much, but once we get to about lap 10, that's when Allen's tyres are really going to start to wear out, and that pace differential is going to come into play, and Pillip is really going to start to close up. Because essentially what that means is that Pillip is now a lap ahead on tyre wear, which could be up to 20% in these cases.
Yeah, and also Heafy's sort of out there by himself a little bit. Like he's the both payload and Allen and Stone, both of those guys pitted that lap early. And then there's a little bit of a way back to Kuzelik. So, yeah, he's sitting pretty good out there, Heafy. But, you just don't know. These guys that are pitted that lap early, they could pull something out of the bag or know something we don't know, or they might just, do a little bit of tyre save on a couple of corners, and you never know what's going to happen.
What that means now is that as Phillip is a lap ahead, if Allen and Stone have the same stint again, but they can't extend much past 6 laps, how are they going to get to the end on a 2-stop? If they're going to be running 2 laps short, if they can't extend that stint out to 7 laps. But we'll just have to wait and see whether they are able. I imagine this middle stint in particular may be more of a conservative one, as we see Allen just kind of pushing. He's keeping that gap to about 1.6 seconds to Phillip behind. Luke Stone, he's definitely lapping a little bit slower than the 2 ahead. Maybe a little conservative this time round, just trying to extend this middle stint to 7 laps or even 8 laps. If you can make it 8 laps, that means you can maximum attack that final stint, which will only be 6 laps if my math serves me correctly.
Either way, the top at least four or 5 guys, like Renegade's sitting a little bit back there in no man's land, and I know he did pick up a little bit of a penalty before, which is easy to do, but looking at all these guys, they seem to be, I think I might have put the mocker on Renegade a bit then, but they seem to be sort of settled down, and they're just pumping away some pretty consistent laps.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone seems to be running their own race. We have quite a mix of drivers in this field at the moment, but yeah, for the most part, these guys just running their own race and running their own strategy. They've all done their homework, especially the top 3. They know what they can do, so they're just going to keep plugging along. This lap alone, though, Phillip, he's purple coming through 130R, and he's closed up that gap half a second to James Allen. We could see a move next lap. He's within touching distance now, within that slipstream range. Let's see if he will go purple this lap. Does he go quicker than a 2:08.5? Oh, he's there or thereabouts. That's an almost identical lap, or a tenth slower than his quickest lap there of a 2:08.5. But James Allen is nowhere near that pace. He's 2 tenths off. His quickest lap's a 2:08.7. As we're on the 10th lap of the race at the moment, that's the pace differential on that last lap. Almost a second. Under 8 tenths now. James Allen.
Yeah, so Heafy's actually done that, that 2:08.6, so he's got the 2 fastest laps, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Which, interesting enough as well, Luke Stone and James Allen are lapping quite similar pace here as well. They're lapping within about 3 or 4 tenths of one another. Allen is marginally quicker, but maybe that extra little bit of pace kept in the bag from Luke Stone is just enough to keep his tyres at bay for another lap or 2 here. We'll just have to wait and see when they get to the pit stop. For now, the pit window is about another 3 or 4 laps away, so we'll just have to see what happens as they approach that mark of the race.
It's because Allen's down to about 50% on his worst front tyre, whereas Heafy's probably got 75% of his tyre left, maybe 80. So there's, just for 1 lap difference, there's quite a fair bit of tyre wear difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's looking at making a move. I think he's going to get close to making a move here shortly.
Yeah, he's gained 8 tenths on this lap alone.
Yeah, he's purple
If not
again.
this lap, it will definitely be next lap for Heath Phillip. Shows the nose. Sticks in behind for now. Doesn't quite get the best of sections there, or yeah, it doesn't
lost a bit.
Yeah. He lost about half a second to James Allen is what I'm trying to say, but I couldn't get the words out.
They're both definitely pulling away from Earl Stone, though, as well. They're sort of spreading that out a little bit more.
Yeah, Luke Stone's just sort of hanging around that 209 mark. Consistent 209s, 209.5, 209.7, 209.7, where James Allen, he is lapping quicker overall, but there's definitely less consistent pace there. The pace drop-off for Payload at the moment is about a second compared to Stone, which is only 0.2.
Yeah, Stone's tyres are better, even though they pitted on the same lap, but his tyres are slightly better. But Kuzelik, his tyres are quite decent as well. Probably not as good as Heafy's, but they're not bad.
Yeah, absolutely. As Phillip really knocking on the back door of James Allen at the moment. 4/10 gap. He's been right on his rear bumper for about a lap's time now. You got to think for Phillip, he's got to put this move on Allen sooner or later. He's on the fresher tyres. He should be able to get past.
Yeah, he's probably not going to do anything stupid though. He knows he's got that better tyre. Oh, he's right up on him now though. But he's just, yeah, he might go for it here. But
is he going to try around the outside of 130R? No, don't go for it. Oh.
I was about to sing. I was just saying, oh no, he's dropped back in. I was just saying he's probably not going to do anything stupid knowing he's on better tyres and he's just going to bide his time, but maybe not.
Yeah. I think for Phillip at the moment, he's not too eager to get past. But if he just sits in the slipstream range on those fresher tyres, just conserving, if he can extend this stint out to 8 laps potentially, that means that would only be a 5-lap sprint home, as he's already done the 7-lap first stint. And that's a 2-lap advantage, or even 3-lap advantage, depending on when Allen comes into the pits. And that could be a matter of seconds per lap.
The underlying question I've got whether Scott James is using a stick shift for this.
He could be. Little known fact is that Scott James it's quite known to the Sector 1 community, not outside of the Sector 1 community, but he does use stick shift for majority of his driving on Gran Turismo. Now, these Group 4 cars, not sure. He's running the Evo, but I'm not sure whether the Evo has stick shift or it is paddle shift, because that does have an impact on whether you can use a clutch in-game. I think you can still use the H pattern, just without the clutch if the car doesn't have a clutch.
Yeah, more of a sequential.
Yeah. Not too sure. We might have to fact check that. Somebody in the comments might know whether the car has sequential or manual gears. But it is Payload and Phillip going at it, as Phillip's closer to Allen than he has been all race. Through spoon curve on the power. This could be the time. He tried it last time around the outside of 130R, but Allen is not giving up. He's going to send him to the outside once again. He has more of an overlap this time. And will he be able to get it? No, he's going to have to back out once again. Phillip, it's not going to work for him around the outside there, so he's going to need to try and find a way. He's going to try and run the outside at the chicane, but it's still not fully alongside either. This is great defense from Allen, but all this fighting means that Phillip's tyres are going to be wearing out. He's got the run on him.
I can't believe he's going for another lap. I tell you what, the ball's on this guy. He's got like a little hair of front right, and his left is not much better.
Oh, Allen, what defense! Ooh. He managed to hold off Phillip through the first and second turn, but Phillip's got the switchback. This is brilliant racing. They're banging doors into turn 3 now, and Phillip has to concede. This is a valiant defensive effort from James Allen. He's not going to let Phillip pass as easy as he did in the first stint.
No. And I tell you what, this is playing into Earl Stone as well, because he's catching right up to these boys.
Yeah, he knows that he's right there or thereabouts. He just needs to hope that these guys are fight. And I'm assuming that Luke Stone's tyres are better than Alan's tyres, as we see Philip goes through on Alan. It was at the same spot as last time. We might have a look on the Liquid Solutions action replay. I think he did get him at the same spot.
I tell you what, Alan's front tyres are completely gone. He's driving that thing on completely bald tyres. And while he's losing a bit of time, it's not like he's losing seconds per, like, you know.
But what that does mean is that Luke Stone is now within touching distance of James Allen. All that battling, it held up Philip. So he wasn't able to use that tyre advantage as much as he would have liked. But now James Allen, on a compromised front set of tyres, has Luke Stone filling his mirrors 7.5 tenths to the good at the moment.
And Luke Stone's tyres, he's got better front tyres obviously than Allen, but he hasn't got a lot left.
Yeah, that's it. I would imagine we'll see Payload and Stone into the pits on this lap. And maybe... Oh, let's see whether we see Philip in. No, Philip goes round. And they're both in. There we go. So we see Connor Kushalik rounding the final chicane. Hasn't got much screen time tonight. He's been in a bit of no man's land. 6 seconds astray to Kevin Cooper behind, and 10 seconds up to Luke Stone at the front. Kevin Cooper goes around again, another lap. He did prolong that first stint though, did 7 laps at the start. So he will fly on by these guys for now. As we have Alex Bowen coming in, we see Scott James, who will go around again. Matt McCullum is not going to pass the guys up front, but we'll see how whether he pits this lap or not. It's going to be for Matt McCullum. He peels into the pits.
It's going to be interesting too, because Kevin Cooper, he did do that extra lap. But last time when everyone else pitted, he was third, and now he's second. So he's sort of moved a bit, but now Payload and everything, Alan and that's right on him. So they're only a few seconds behind him.
Yeah, that's...
and they've already pitted. So yeah, it's just showing that them front 3 guys got some serious pace going.
Absolutely.
Not trying to say anything against Kevin, because he's actually doing a really good job out there. He's got some really good times and he's really consistent, keeping it smooth. So
as they head down towards the Spoon Curve, we see Philip, I would imagine, either this lap or next lap before his stop. If he pits this lap, he'll have 1 lap fresher tyres than Payload and Stone behind, but if he pits next lap, he'll have 2 lap advantage, but that leaves him with only 5 laps to get the move done on Allen. I'll have to wait and see.
Kuzelik's got himself a 3-second penalty. He must have got it from the pits because he's got fresh tyres. Oh, and I've put the mocker on him and he's gone sideways as well. Yeah, that's a tough thing, getting those pit penalties. So he probably got it on the way in.
That's doing him absolutely no favours.
No, that's really dropped him off from Scott James as well.
Phillips into the pits. As we see Kevin Cooper coming in now too. And I think, is Payload and Stone going to get by Phillip? No, Phillip might have got him. He might have covered him off. It's going to be tight. Oof. I think Phillip, he's done the overcut. And he's managed to hold ahead of James Allen. He has track position with the quicker tyres. So Phillip's done all the hard work. Now he's just got to get to the end without any mistakes. He has the track advantage. He has the quicker tyres. This is Phillip's race to lose. But the race is still on between Allen and Stone.
So that's only going to give him 6 laps, isn't it? On a brand new set of tyres.
Phillip's done 7 laps and 7 laps, and he's finishing off with a quick 6-lap stint. But yeah, so Alan needs to get by Phillip as soon as possible if he wants any chance of winning this race. He needs to stick a move on Phillip, get that track position, and wear out Phillip's tyres. But he might not have the tyres towards the end of the race. He's got to do 7 laps on those tyres.
Yeah. If Phillip can get that little bit of heat into those tyres and keep himself in front, I think he's going to be... I think he'll pull away here on this last bit of a stint.
Which Alan is very, very close to Phillip. He needs to make a move now if he has any chance of winning this race.
Mind you, Alan has shown that he can drive the track pretty well with no front tyres, so...
That's for sure. Which Alan is purple as well.
Yeah.
He's the quickest lap.
Oh,
Does he
is he?
dive down the inside? Oh, shows the nose.
Oh, I thought he was going for it then. I tell you what, Luke Stone is still hanging in there too. He's right there, isn't he? He's just waiting for one of these guys to make a bit of a mistake and jump himself a spot too.
That's the hope for Stone at the moment. He'll be hoping that the fireworks display occurs ahead of him and he just drives through George Russell style, like we saw in Formula 1 a week ago.
Just interesting that I was just watching, I don't know if it was GT7 doing GT7 things, but it looks a little bit like Heafy's manipulating them front tyres coming through some of the corners. He's sort of getting a bit of turn in, then letting a little bit of pressure off, and then a little bit more turn in. And I wonder if that's how he's saving those front tyres a little bit better.
So the battle for 4th is heating up as Kushalik had to serve that 3-second penalty for the pit lane infringement. But what that means is that Kevin Cooper is right up his doorstep, and I believe on fresher tyres as well. Kevin Cooper, 1 lap fresher tyres, then Kushalik. So towards the end of this race, if Kevin Cooper can hold at bay, he might be able to stick a move for 4th place here, which that would be brilliant for the Who Corp driver. So we see Alex Bowen and Scott James still going at it as well. These guys, half a second separate those two at the current second. Very tight margins all up and down the field at the moment.
You see Kuselik, is he a symmetry driver?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a symmetry thing, so yeah. 2 decent, nice looking liveries battling it out as well. I tell you what, it's like Brown and James are coming together as well. Bowen and James, sorry. They're really close as well, so a few battles across the field.
Yes, 6/10 separating those two at the moment. They've been going at it all race long, and it's going to be culminating in at the last 4 laps of this race. The tyre advantage between those two holds with James, I believe. Yes, Scott James does have the quicker tyres, and he is also in the Evo, which by the looks of things so far from what we've seen is the quicker, better car on its tyres, I should say.
Here goes Renegade. Oh, stuck the nose in.
Could we see a move from Scott James? Oh, very late on the brakes. Oh, he showed the nose, but had to back out at the last minute. We'll have a look on the Liquid Solutions action replay at that one. So they came through 130R. He was getting closer and closer. And then at the last moment, on the brakes, dived down the inside, but it was covered off by Bowen. Scott James still sitting just behind Alex Bowen. The number 26 car looking very, very racy. Does he pull alongside? He does, but he's pushed to the outside of the circuit as the circuit switches back on itself for the last part of the S's. Is he able to find a way past? Not quite. Will the gap open up? No, he sticks to the racing line right up underneath the rear wing of the Subaru.
This is fantastic. There's battles going across all the track. The front couple of guys were in 1.5 seconds. Then you drop down to the difference between 4th and 5th is 6/10. And then you drop down to 6th and 7th. Oh, they've separated a little bit now. Something must have happened. It's dropped back to about 2.2
Yeah,
seconds.
Scott James must have made a mistake. We'll see if we can catch that on the Liquid Solutions action replay. As he came in here. What's happened? Oh, we ran wide at the second Dunlop there.
He's still got time though. There's still... He's, what's the tyre difference like? He's got a lot better tyres. Not saying that, Bowen has got, bad tyres, but, Scott James has definitely got better tyres.
Oh,
Same as
Kevin Cooper
Renegade.
around the outside. Does he get it done? Late on the brakes is Kushalik. A little bit of contact on the apex, but Kushalik stays ahead. Kevin Cooper, he's going to have another opportunity down into the first turn. Does he have the run on him? Yes, he does. That gap coming down, down, down. 2.5 tenths. Does he pull to the inside? Shows the nose. Pulls to the inside, but can't quite get alongside to get that move done. And they'll go around one more lap. Kushalik ahead. As we have a look back up front to the front three. Heath Phillip has legged it a little bit, 2.7. He set the fastest lap on lap 16 there, a 2:08.1. We see James Allen starting to fall back into the grip of Luke Stone. 1 second gap between those two at the moment.
Yeah, and Allen's tyres are once again right on that edge of just about to disappear, whereas Luke Stone, he's got a good third of a tyre left.
As these guys pushing on, Kushalik and Kevin Cooper. Under the bridge, down towards the hairpin. Kevin Cooper not giving up. Oh, dives down the inside. Can he get it done? Not quite. The gap closes as quickly as it opened up.
Scott James is making time back up on Bowen again as well. He's closed it back in a bit. Don't know if he'll have enough to get there in that last. He's got a lot better tyres though, so tyres could come into play the next couple of laps.
Oh, Luke Stone, he gets by. James Allen's gone off the track. That's disaster for James Allen. Was leading the race and he's got a penalty.
Yeah, slapped with a penalty as well.
We'll see what happened here. It looked like it was on the exit of the chicane. Luke Stone giving a lot of pressure to Allen. Tries around the outside, under brakes. Sweeps around the outside, and then... Oh, there's a... I'm not too sure. There might have been a little bit of contact, but... I think they were side by side. But what that has ended in was Allen receiving a half-second penalty. I think Luke Stone was allowed to be there, but I think Allen tried to give him the squeeze, and there was a little bit of wheel-to-wheel touching, and Allen just got pushed a little bit wide off his typical line, no grip away from the racing line, and he ended up running the track limits a little bit too tight, and the game has administered a half-second penalty there.
To be fair to him, he has no front tyres at all either, so I'd say he's possibly going to brave it out for the next lap and a half or so until he gets to the finish line, because he's got a fair lead over fourth place, so I don't know if it'd be worth him pitting at this moment and losing a spot potentially.
Which Scott James and Alex Bowen has tightened back up again. It's 7/10 at the moment, but Scott James has a half-second penalty. So, big implications for this sixth spot battle, as we'll see what happens here with Payload as he serves his penalty now, and he's dropped off the back of Luke Stone even more. Fire compromised James Allen. He's really dropping off the back of Luke Stone. He's got one more lap to complete. As we see, Pillip 6 seconds to the good ahead of Luke Stone here, so he has driven a brilliant race. Connor Kushalik still under pressure from Kevin Cooper, 1.2 seconds, the gap currently between them two. as Alex Bowen and Scott James. This battle is the closest on track at the moment, but that's going to open up like a can of worms when Scott James has to serve that penalty. There he does. How much does that open up to? 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. It's going to stagnate at around about 1.5 seconds. And they continue on one more lap. It might be too much to ask for Scott James to close that up. But as you can see, he's closed up almost half a second through the exit of the chicane there as well. That might not be over for Scott James. He still might be able to get a move done.
Yeah, Bowen too, his front left's about to disappear. His front right isn't much better. Whereas Scott James has got probably a good 25% on his worst tyre. So I reckon he'll have a fair crack at it this lap.
So look at this. Luke Stone starting to struggle on tyres as well as James Allen, and they're sitting about a second apart. But Phillip has just absolutely taken off at the front. 12 and a half seconds to the good here. He is absolutely in a league of his own in this final stint.
Yeah. Luke Stone, his front tyres are about to disappear as well. And I think Alan knows that, and he's just sitting there like a shark waiting. He's
into the hairpin. Kevin Cooper down the inside. Can't quite get close enough. This contact with Kushalik there. And he redresses the position. Continues on. We'll catch that on the Liquid Solutions action replay. Let's just see how this happened. Tried to throw it down the inside. The door closed. A little bit of contact and he redressed that.
Here comes Heafy.
As he crosses the line, P1, brilliant race for Heath Phillip. He takes the Category 2 final title. And Luke Stone and James Allen fighting all the way to the checkered flag. And Luke Stone, Luke Stone crosses the line, second place for him. James Allen will finish third. And it looks like Connor Kushalik is going to get the better of Kevin Cooper. Massive dive from Kevin Cooper there, but Kushalik manages to hold on. 4 tenths. 3 tenths, 2 tenths. Is there going to be a drag race to the line? Kushalik holds on to fourth.
Never gave up.
Absolutely. Kevin Cooper settles for
Scott James got past.
He has 2. 6th place for Scott James. And he'll cross the line. 7th for Alex Bowen. It will then be Matt McCullum who rounds the final corner, not too far off the other guys. As he crosses the line, and it will be Matthew Smith who will be the final driver here. As he rounds Spoon Curve at the moment. A little bit of TV time. Heads down towards 130R. Into the final braking zone now, the chicane. Matthew Smith, he's had a tough event this year, but he'll be back and stronger than ever next year, surely. Rounds the final corner now across the start-finish line. And that completes his day, and that is all that she wrote for the Category 2 final. As, wow, that was a very interesting race. Lots of action towards the end there, wasn't there, Snake Eyes?
Yeah, it definitely was.
As we have a look at the race results for the Category 2 final, here is how they shape up. Heath Phillip takes P1. He will be the Category 2 champion of MAGTEC 2024. He also took the fastest lap, a 2:08.1, the quickest of the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution cars. Luke Stone manages to get the better of James Allen at the end there. Second place finish for him, with James Allen completing the podium. Third step on the podium for him. Connor Kushalik manages to hold off over Kevin Cooper there. Kevin Cooper takes 5th place. We see the second Mitsubishi Lancer in Scott James taking P6 over Alex Bowen. Their battle lasted the entire way, with Scott James taking Bowen on the last lap. Matthew McCullum finishes P8, and we have Matthew Smith, who rounds out the grid in a 9th spot there. Wowee, what a race. That was incredible to watch. That battle between the front three, it really culminated towards the end there, and before you know it, the Heath Pillip took off towards the end, and we had a nice little battle between Luke Stone and James Allen, and we had battles up and down the grid. We saw Connor Kushalik and Kevin Cooper going at it. We had Scott James and Alex Bowen. Wow, great racing action. We love to see it, don't we, Snake Eyes?
Yeah, there was right across the field. It was actually good to see those last few laps where it all sort of came together, and there wasn't just, there wasn't just the one battle, but there was quite a few battles going on across the field.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyways, thanks for race directing the Category 2 final, Snake Eyes. Nice to see you back in the comms box. I believe it's the first time for about a month, eh?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in. I was probably a little bit ill-prepared, but yeah, I think it went okay.
Yeah, nice to see you here, mate.
Nice to us. Devon was nice to us for once.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we have one more race left to go in MAGTEC 2024. Please welcome Carbon Boy back to the comms box, everybody's favourite race director. How are we doing tonight, Carbon Boy? Are you there? Can you hear us?
I am here, and I can hear you. I am doing rather well, thank you very much. How did you guys find that Cat 2 final?
Very interesting. Lots of battles up and down the field. It's what you love to see. But now we have the Category 1 final, the best of the best competing. But that will be coming right up. We're just going to go to a quick ad break. And as soon as we come back from that, we will be ready to go. All these drivers and viewers keen as a bean to get underway to crown the Category 1 champion of MAGTEC 2024. Pretty much the best driver in Australia. So we'll be right back. Catch you guys.
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today. It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day, race against the clock at a hill climb, or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today. Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today. Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today. It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today. Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new, lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Hello everybody, we are back for the Category 1 final here of a MAGTEC 2024. My name is Lenosis, and joining me in the comment box is your Category 1 race director, Carbon Boy. Welcome back to the comms box. I heard you went and got a cup of coffee in the break.
Coffee, yes, 100%. Yes, it was definitely coffee, not another beverage of a cold carbonated description. Definitely coffee.
But we have 13 guys lining up and waiting on the grid. We had one late scratching of Jackson Austin, who unfortunately was unable to make the event tonight. So we've only got 13 on the grid tonight. But the good news is that we have a lot of big names in Australian Gran Turismo racing lining up here. We have Andrew Lee, Josh Struick, Paul Candanoli, and Matthew Simmons. They're all lined up and waiting. And this is going to be the biggest race of the year for Australian Gran Turismo. And it's a winner takes all for the prize pool. The podium, well, it's actually not winner takes all. I'm not correct in saying that, as the prize pool will be split among the top 3, the podium. $250 to first. Wait, no. $300 to first, $150 to second, $100 to third, I think. I'm not too sure about the specific, well, even though, yeah. I should know, but I don't know, guys, so I'm sorry. But there's $500, and it's split amongst the podium. So these guys are biting at the bit to see who can take the biggest prize in Australian Gran Turismo this year. Let's have a look at our track map for tonight. We are, of course, at Circuit de la Sarre, 13.626 kilometers, 30 turns, 10-minute qualifying, 15 laps. We have 2 compounds for this race. Both the racing soft and the racing hard compounds both must be used for at least 1 lap in the race. We have 3 times tyre wear and 1 times fuel. The tyres, the softs should last about 8 laps. The fuel should last about 10 laps. So I reckon it's a 1-stop for these guys. They could potentially go for a 2-stop and then chuck on the hards for 1 lap, but I think the hards might be viable for 2 or 3 laps to make their strategy work. We will just have to wait and see how these guys drive it. And the potential of rain is on the way. The lobby is set to random, but I'm just having a look out the commentary box window, and it is looking very dark and grim out there. So I hope these guys brought their wet tires to the circuit. They've got their allocations sitting in their pit boxes, and I reckon it's time to go for qualifying in the next couple of minutes. What do you say, Carbon Boy? Carbon Boy doesn't say anything.
No, Carbon Boy has hit the mute microphone button, but we have got qualifying underway.
Here we go.
13 of the fastest drivers in the country, all chomping at the bit. Hopefully, well, I don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to be happy to find their own space on the track and run by themselves, or is there going to be some slipstream buddy action going on?
Hang on a minute. The track's wet. That's a pleasant surprise at the start here. Half the crew are on intermediates, the other half are on softs. Which that's very interesting to start off this 10-minute qualifying session here for the Category 1 final. A little bit of spray being thrown up by the cars. So we have...
Interesting.
We have Matthew Simmons leading the way for these guys. Xavier Wakefield, second driver out on track. Ryan Tame, third. We have Gopi Mahinderjit in fourth place. Joshua Law sitting in fifth place there. We have Aiden Matthews in sixth on track. Liam Tame, he's picked up a half-second penalty somewhere on the circuit there as well. We have Connor Butler in eighth. He's going wheel to wheel with Andrew Lee. These guys eager to get racing. Just 10 minutes away from the start of that session. We have Samuel Lung in 10th place. We have Paul Candidolian 11th out on track. Josh Green in the CP colours, the 12th drive out on track. And Joshua Struick in the distinct car, 13th driver out on track. So, what's the moisture meter looking like, Carbon Boy? It doesn't look like it's too wet out there, does it? Because half of these guys...
At the moment, it is just touching into the middle third.
Okay.
So, there's not heavy rain, but there is a constant light sprinkle coming down, which is keeping the moisture level fairly constant on the track. And so it's interesting to see how the guys on the racing soft tyres are going to go compared to how the guys on the intermediates will go, because you're going to have to be very, very careful considering that traction control is not an option available in this Category 1 final.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things that we've changed for this final as compared to the rest of the event. And of course, being in this car, it's nothing like anything that these guys have driven. I mean, some people might liken the 1,000 horsepower of this RBX 2019 to the Lamborghini Huracan we drove in the heats. But yeah, that definitely explains the split amongst these guys.
The rain is starting to come down a lot heavier as they come in towards the Porsche curves. Through Indianapolis and Anage, there was quite a heavy shower going on there.
Yeah.
Look at me, I've learned some corner names in my last few weeks.
Is it because you watched the whole 24 hours of Le Mans? Oh, as Ryan Tame's gone off the track there and hit the wall in a straight line. Oh, as these guys are struggling for grip. All the soft tyre runners not having a fun day out there. So, what's crazy to me is that for those of you that know how the weather system works, it's about a 1 in 43 chance that rain hits the track for each slot in a race. Oh, so Matthew Simmons is coming to the pits. So everybody else behind him on the slicks are having a really hard time. So people are coming to the pits for all sorts of reasons. Oh no, they're sticking him out on the slicks. It's the wet tyre runners that are coming into the pits. Xavier Wakefield has a penalty. Joshua Law going around. So it's really weird. I think only half of the track is wet at this point. This is a very interesting
I think this
session.
little bit of rain has 100% thrown a massive spanner into the works for these guys, because I don't think, well, anyone, including myself, was anticipating a wet qualifying session. But looking at the clouds, there's quite a bit of blue sky around, so it does look like the weather's clearing up and that a dry line will form. But they're really only going to get one solid crack at it for the guys who have pitted.
And the track's just going to get quicker and quicker and quicker. All these guys should get, judging by the timer, about another 2 flying laps in. So, it's a really tough call. They'll get at least this lap and one more, but whether they get another lap again, that's a completely different story. Will the track be completely dry by then? We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, as I was saying before a couple of the drivers hit, it's about a 1 in 43 chance that rain actually hits for every slot out there. So we've only had one wet weather track, or 2 wet weather tracks so far in the first heat where it did rain, and then this Category 2 final at Suzuka just then. And there's about 7 slots for 40 minutes and about 5 for 20 minutes. I don't know, Gran Turismo. Oh! You can see Liam Tame. He crashes. He's lost the rear end there at the second chicane there. And he's about to be overtaken by, who is that the Prema car of Gopit Mahendra? It is too. So we'll have a look on the Liquid Solutions action replay at just what happened there. So how has he done this? He comes into the second chicane. And... oh, he just too eager on the power, rear end spat round, and it just snapped on him. So not much you can do about that. When the rear end goes in these conditions, it goes. But yeah, so we've had about 13 slots at the moment. And for this first slot of the race, in the qualifying, we've had it rain twice, so we're beating the odds here, aren't we, Carbon Boy?
Look, it's not on purpose. All of the weather is set to 100% random. The drivers get whatever the GT7 gods decide to dish out. I have no power over this, but I think I was just as surprised as they were when I saw the clouds and it was like, it's not raining. And then I looked out the window a little bit more carefully and was like, okay, it's actually wet.
Yeah, which there's definitely a certain dry line starting to form as the clouds have moved away and the sun has come out. You can see the edges of the track still very wet, but a definite dry line starting to form. These guys starting to cook with their laps. This lap isn't really going to stand up to much. It'll just be an indicator of the pecking order. Josh Law goes quickest. Liam Tame goes ahead by 1.4 seconds. Gopit Mahendra sits second. Who will be the next to cross the line? It will be not Ryan Tame, as he is letting some cars through. Matthew Simmons is on an outlap. We have Aiden Matthews also on an outlap. Connor Butler on an outlap. We have Andrew Lee on an outlap. A lot of these guys on an outlap. Josh Green on an outlap. Ryan Tame sets the lap time, but it is not representative at all, as he was going very slow just before. And who have we got here? It's Sam Leung, who's also on an outlap. Everyone's on an outlap. So Liam Tame, despite crashing on his flying lap, has taken P1 on the greasy track surface.
Looks like sticking it out on those racing softs that he started with might have just been the master stroke he needed.
But to put into perspective how irrelevant the last sets of laps were.
Lost it.
Oh no.
The first chicane down the back straight, the name has momentarily escaped my memory.
Just call it the first chicane for simplicity. We're not French.
Yeah, first chicane, and it did look like there was a little bit of contact with Law as he came on through.
He lost it, hit the wall, and then Law, yeah. Law had nowhere to go and just nailed Gopit Mahendra as he bounced off the wall. Not much that can be done about that, unfortunately, but that might be the end of their qualifying. As we saw just before, Liam Tame was 6 seconds purple on his time, so crashing on this lap, it's essentially a one-shot qualifying now. And that could be the end of Mahendra and Law's chances of a podium finish in this one, unfortunately.
I'm just riding on board Ryan Tame, who's currently sitting in P4. He's currently a few seconds purple with Camden Nolian right on his rear bumper. Ryan's going to be quite touch and go to whether he's going to be able to make it across the finish line before the 3-minute timer expires. Actually, no, he should be good. I've done my math wrong. I'm quite terrible at maths on a Sunday afternoon.
There's about 10 seconds left in the session, so I don't think so. This will be the last lap for everybody.
He'll make it to the finish line before the timer expires.
Oh yeah, of course, well and truly. Which Liam Tame rounds the final corner. On the power for the final time. What's it going to be? 3:10. And that he goes 13 seconds quicker than P2. But I imagine that won't hold up the full 13-second gap, as Joshua Law will be the next cross. Oh no, it's Xavier Wakefield who goes 30. Can't improve much. So Joshua Law will cross the line, and he's well and truly down. So as it stands, Ryan Tame, Andrew Lee goes P1, 6/10 quicker than Liam Tame there. Paul Candinolian goes third. Ryan Tame slots into 6th place. Aiden Matthews goes 5th. Matthew Simmons goes 4th. A few more drivers yet to complete a lap. It's Josh Struick through the Ford curve.
Now, I just have received some communication from the Prima garage.
Second for Struick.
Kopi Mahindajit has had an ECU let go during qualifying. So they're currently frantically in the garage, rapidly replacing the ECU in that car.
That means we will need a host set grid.
That is correct.
Samuel Lung go 7th quickest. Connor Butler 11th out on track at the moment. He does have a penalty, so his lap will be invalid. And Josh Green, that's all she wrote, I think. I don't think anybody else is on a hot lap. So the question then is, where does Mahindajit's lap put him when he disconnected, as the system won't let it come through? But that lap was only on the greasy track, so he hasn't had his chance to finish his lap, but he crashed out. So yeah, not too sure where he will stand. But for now, here is your official qualifying results for the Category 1 final of MAGTEC 2024. This is how they will line up in a moment's time. Andrew Lee takes pole position over Josh Struick. It's a distinct 1-2. 13 thousandths separate those two at the pointy end. Liam Tame will be starting from the 3rd slot on the grid with Paul Candinolian alongside. Matthew Simmons starts 5th, with Aiden Matthews in 6th. Samuel Lung manages to put his car into 7th. We have Ryan Tame in 8th. Josh Law will be starting 9th. Xavier Wakefield 10th. And Josh Green, Connor Butler unable to set a lap time. So let's figure out where Mahindajit will be starting, as his lap time is a 3:23.6. The game lists him at the bottom, but his lap time will pit him somewhere in the middle of the field
He will be starting from P9 based on his 3:23.608 versus J Law's 3:23.973.
Okay, so he will be starting P9. So Josh Law will be starting 10th, Xavier Wakefield 11th, Josh Green 12th, and Connor Butler will be starting from the rear of the grid. Wow, that was a very interesting race session, but that 10-minute teaser will give these guys a chance to figure out how the weather is looking like for the start of this race. That's definitely very, very interesting to see the fact that in that 10-minute session, we had just a little bit of rain, and it just meant that for the most part, these guys, they're left high and dry. As we'll have a look at the radar, we'll just see what it is doing for that 10-minute session. So this is over the last hour. We've had a lot of rainfall on the track. And you can see all that rain, and it's just left that track. And then when you get to about the half an hour mark now, 20, 15 minutes. This is about when the session started, about now, and there was that little bit of rain on the track, and then we had that little bit of a dry patch, and then there's a new bunch of rain about to hit. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out over the next few, over the start of the race, I should say. But yeah, very, very interesting to see the fact that we got rain at the start of the qualifying session, which made it essentially a one-lap shootout to the racing, to the flag. And Andrew Lee and Josh Struick, in their distinct cars, in clutch circumstances, managed to take home P1 and 2 for distinct. So very, very interesting indeed. And a few guys missing out on laps there, unfortunately. We see the likes of Xavier Wakefield and Gopi Mahindajit, who, Mahindajit disconnected and crashed, but Xavier Wakefield unable to set a lap at the end of that session. And he starts all the way down the order, which is not ideal for the young Queenslander. And we saw Ryan Tame, who performed so well in the heats as well. He'll only be starting from 8th. So lots and lots of issues for people. The little bit of rain on the track really influenced a lot of people there and their qualifying ability. The rain always brings people together. It makes it more about the driver as opposed to the car, but we are running a spec series, so the car should be the same for everybody in the first place.
I just need a C Butler to tick in, please.
Might as well yell at him in the chat. Okay, there we go. He's joined in. But yeah,
Lovely.
So place your predictions below for who you think is going to take the podium of MAGTEC 2024, the Category 1 final coming right up. We see a lot of people in chat. Thanks for joining us all tonight, everybody. If you haven't already, make sure to smash the like button. And yeah, we have lots of people in the chat at the moment. We see Bumcrack, Brocky, Heartstopper, Karen Unleashed. We've got Foss. We've got the Sean Ghost Muller in chat. Niff is in chat. Mr. Ruckus in chat. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Womble, Lewis Atkinson. Yeah, thanks for showing up, guys, and supporting the stream. It's always nice to see great numbers in the chat. Everyone giving their thoughts and, yeah, enjoying the racing, which so far we have seen some brilliant racing in this event in both the 6 heats that we had yesterday and the Category 2 final that we just witnessed. Lots of racing up and down the fields. Very, very exciting stuff. As
Sorry,
these
I've
guys...
gone quiet here as I'm just double checking the starting grid because God help me if I get this wrong.
Yeah.
I'll never hear the end of it.
Might be a new record for the quickest red flag in history.
I would rather not set a new record for that. Thank you very much. Rightio. All right. Grid is set. I'll just let the drivers know.
So not too much longer, and then we'll be racing in MAGTEC 2024 Category 1 final. Very, very exciting stuff. We see 2 heavyweights occupying the front grid, I should say. Andrew Lee and Josh Struick, 13 thousandths, a mere gap separating those 2 distinct drivers. With Liam Tame starting from 30, he looked very quick on that first flying lap. He had 6 seconds, I think, over second place at the time, and then he's put himself into 3rd place to start this one. Paul Candanolian occupying the second row of the grid as well.
I have confirmation from the majority, well, a large amount of drivers that we are good to go. So let's push this button and get things underway. We won't leave them hanging any longer.
Probably for the best. They're biting at the bit. They were already racing and qualifying. 15 laps about to go racing here at Le Mans.
He is hoping everybody's connection stays stable.
As it's going to be a greasy start to this one. Let's see who can keep it on the track. I have a feeling this is going to be chaos. 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 lights, 5 lights. Revs rising. And it's lights out and away we go here in the Category 1 final of MAGTEC 2024. As they barrel down towards the first turn. And do they all make it through smoothly? This is going to be chaos. Do they keep it calm? For the most part, yes, they do. They're scrambling for position. They all manage to make it through nice and smoothly as they head down the hill.
Do they keep it calm? Yes, but no.
Yes, but no. As they head down towards, onto the Mulsanne Straight.
Tell you what, young Ryan Thames had an absolute belter of a start. He's made his way up from P8 to P5 by the first corner.
Absolutely. As we see, Liam Tame pull to the inside of Josh Struick. Does he get the move done? I don't think so. Josh Struick able to outmuscle him in a straight line, deep under brakes. Liam Tame gets it done. Down the inside of Josh Struick there, up into the podium places once again. Paul Candinolian has been promoted up into second place here. As these guys barrel down towards the second chicane. We have 13 out of 13 drivers still going.
This
Into
is
the second chicane.
Very heated little pack here for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Maybe throw 4th position into that as well.
Josh Struick and Liam Tame are still going out of their side by side down towards the Mulsanne curve. The famous hairpin at the south end of the circuit here. As we see, go bandage it! As they go around all of them, they're 3 wide into the Mulsanne corner. As we see Josh Law in the background, running a little bit deep, but they keep it all settled. Liam Tame manages to hold on to the position, and Josh Struick drops to 6th place off the start. This is not a great start for Josh Struick from second on the grid, back up to 5th place. These guys side by side, single file
All this chaos
down here.
is playing perfectly into the hands of Andrew Lee and Candinolian. Andrew Lee's currently got a 2-second gap to Candinolian, who's got a 1.5-second gap to Matty Simmons. So with all that battling going on, these two are just going to scoot off into the distance and run their own race. So the guys behind them better be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. As we have a massive battle pack just behind Matty Simmons here.
Not that I'm someone to tell them how to race. I mean, these guys are...
Josh Struick off the track.
That is definitely not the optimal racing line, I can confirm.
And he comes with a penalty.
Yes. That's
He's
going to
hold that. He's going to hold that for about 3.5 minutes here. As Liam Tame has dropped to 5th place after all the carnage that occurred around Indianapolis. Doping Mahindajit sitting in 6th place still at the moment.
Speaking of carnage at Indianapolis, what happened to Ryan Tame? He was up in 5th and now back in 9th.
Oh, I think it's just been very, very tight racing here at the moment. Lots of chopping and changing in position.
He is sitting behind Law, who is carrying a half-second penalty as well.
So would you be able to give us an update on who is on what tyre? Because I have a theory on who is on what tyre. Both the softs and the hards available for use at the moment.
Okie dokie. Out in front, Lee is on the racing softs, as is Candinolian in P2. Simmons in P3 is on the racing softs. Struick in P4 is on the racing softs. Mahindajit is also on the softs. Liam Tame is on the racing softs. Law is also on the racing softs, as is Wakefield, Ryan Tame, Lung, Butler, Matthews, and Green. Everybody's on the racing softs. That sounds like it's throwing your theory out the window.
Well, I thought off the start, Josh Struick got a poor start off the line and he dropped out 5 positions, but he's managed to make up quite a lot of them. So I thought Struick may have been on the racing hards, but clearly not. Must have just had a tough start in those greasy conditions. So we'll have a look on the Liquid Solutions action replay at the race start there. We saw them all off the line. They were 3-4 wide in the background through the first turn here. And there's a little argy-bargy. Oh, as we see, that was Mahindajit who was sideways through the corner there. But he managed to hold on to it, and everybody managed to get through, pointing the right direction, barely. So that's good to see. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now.
I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right about now. I really wish I could see a weather radar right because there's a lot of mist going around the track, and well, the last time we saw this level of mist, it was qualifying, so could there be something on the horizon for these guys? I really wish I knew.
Potentially.
Either way, Mahindajit and Tame are going to... Sorry, yep, they're going to make up a lot of ground on Struik here. Will it be enough ground before the Porsche curves, though? Ooh. I don't think either of these guys... okay, yeah, I'm wrong. Driver's proving me wrong again. I was about to say I don't think either of them are going to yield, but...
They both went...
There's a wall.
There's a wall.
Oh, Mahindajit is sideways.
Oh, they're all sideways.
Tame's picked up a penalty. And now we've got Liam Tame and Ryan Tame running line astern. This is not going to be confusing for me at all. So I'm now going to be referring to them by their first names only because, well, I'm easily confused. We all know that.
As Andrew Lee starts the third lap here, he's 4.5 seconds to the good at the moment. Looking very, very good to go back-to-back in MAGTEC 2023 and 2024 here.
And not too far behind the two Tame boys is young Xavier Wakefield. He's managed to make his way back up. He's within half a second.
So Liam Tame ran wide through the Porsche curves and then hit the wall and got himself a half-second penalty and a little bit of damage as well. And then I don't think he went off again like the replay showed. I believe that was just a lag spike.
No, he managed to stay on track for the rest of it, yes.
Andrew Lee going quicker again. 209.4 and showing signs of improving very, very fast.
Kind of curious to see what kind of lap times Lee can drop in the race, because in practice, I've seen him doing some disgustingly quick times.
Yeah, the RBX 2019, it's very strange with the way it laps. It gets progressively quicker and quicker and quicker, and then it'll hit a cliff, and you'll drop off about 3 or 4 seconds a lap. So I imagine this fastest lap time for Andrew Lee is just going to come down and down and down right up until until he gets to that cliff, and then the tyres will drop off it. And then I imagine he'll pit and put on a new set of tyres.
Here we go. We're seeing the first of a little bit of teamwork, well, between teams going on, with Xavier Wakefield giving Ryan Tame a bit of a bump draft down the last part of the Mulsanne Straight, even though Ryan is currently carrying a half-second penalty, which he picked up in the first sector of the track.
Some of our eagle-eyed viewers may have seen in the background there, Connor Butler flying through the air majestically.
Who's also received a bit of bump draft assistance from Simon Lung. I do hope I'm pronouncing everyone's names right. If not, I'm sorry.
Oh, Connor Butler gets a half-second penalty. That's not going to be good for his bid at the moment. Sitting P9 with a fast Samuel Lung and Aidan Matthews sitting behind.
And where he's picked that up as well, he's going to have to carry that for the entire lap before he can serve it. Going on
Simmons still plugging along behind Paul Candinolian here.
Young Xavier Wakefield's made his way past Ryan, now chasing down Liam.
Xavier Wakefield showed very good racecraft and pace in the heats. He qualified 4th best overall and currently didn't get a good lap in qualifying. Started quite a way down, I believe 10th or 11th, and now he's battling out here 7th place at the moment, fighting with the two Tames. No family affiliation.
The gap between Candinolian and Simmons has come down to just under a second as they come onto the Mulsanne Straight. So with the slipstream effect in place, do anticipate by the time they get to the end of it all, that gap will be pretty much bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
And Stewart is also within slipstream range of Simmons, and the Hinderjit is chasing him down. He's got the gap down to 1.7 seconds now. Making progress. Checking back up the front, Andrew Lee, exactly 7 seconds. Oh, that's huge.
Yeah. And we're seeing the sun come out once again as well. Getting a little bit brighter for these drivers. But as we're approaching the third way mark through this race, what do you say we jump into an APR tyre and fuel update, Carbon Boy?
Alrighty, let's get that underway then. So up in P1, Lee on the racing soft tyres. It's the rear tyres that are the concern in this race, so I won't worry too much about the fronts. They're fairly immaculate. His rear tyres are sort of between 35 and 45% worn, depending on the side of the car. The left-hand side obviously more worn than the right, and he's down to a little bit over 70% fuel. Candinolian is pretty much identical on tyre wear, maybe a little bit better on the rear right. Also identical on fuel at about the 70% mark. Simmons, right on his rear bumper, has a little bit more wear on his rear left tyre. He's at about 50%. Also identical on fuel at about 70%. Struick is, well, again, identical on tyre wear and fuel usage. The Hinderjit, again, identical on fuel, on tyres, maybe 2 or 3% more fuel burnt, but he has been working hard to make his way up from P9 on the starting grid. Liam Tame, he's about 50% wear on that rear left, probably just under 70% fuel. Wakefield, fairly identical in terms of tyre wear, but a couple of percent better off for fuel. Ryan Tame, fairly identical to Wakefield. Lung, again, identical. But look, these guys are all running fairly similar, within a couple of percent of each other in terms of tyre wear and fuel. So okay. I don't think you want to hear me say the same thing 13 times.
No worries, thank you, Carbon Boy. Up to Andrew Lee at the front, 8 seconds to the good over Paul Candinolian at the moment. Everyone going quicker as predicted as they come onto the Mulsanne straight for the 5th time, approaching the third 33% mark of the race. Josh Struick not losing touch with the front guys either. 7/10 to Matthew Simmons, who has closed up that gap to about 8/10 to Paul Candinolian at the moment. Hinderjit just outside of slipstream range. He's still coming slowly. He's still trying to fight his way back up into a podium place. At this point of the race, these guys will have started to settle into a rhythm where they can, where they'll start to get their lap times quicker and quicker and quicker. Those tyres might be able to go not too much further. Oh well, they still sounded pretty alright when you weren't they, Carbon Boy? They shouldn't have to worry about them too much.
No one's tyres were terminal. The wear was about where I would expect it to be in terms of the number of laps that they've completed. Just the rear tyres are the major concern, because everybody's front tyres that are not even 10% worn. So they're not the issue. It's the rears with putting down that 850 odd horsepower that this car has. And in a chassis that weighs a mere 650 kilos, I'm going to let someone smarter than me do the math on that power to weight ratio.
The answer's lots.
I agree. Definitely lots.
This guy's coming to Indianapolis for the 5th time.
And these three have closed right up within a second over all three drivers.
The sun's
gap
definitely starting to
back to
come out now. I don't think we're
The
seeing
gap back to
much.
Mahindajit has extended out about half a second, out to 2.2 seconds.
Yeah, Mahindajit needs somebody near him so they can work together, use that slipstream to their advantage, because at the moment, Stewart, Simmons and Candidolian are just working together and fighting their way through and away from Mahindajit behind.
That gap out to Lee out in front is currently at 9.8 seconds.
Andrew Lee is absolutely flying.
Ooh, Candidolian very sideways coming onto the main straight. That's going to cost him in terms of pace by the first chicane. But it won't be enough for Simmons to get alongside, but it will be enough for him to get right under his rear wing. Which through these twisty sections, I'm not 100% sure if that's exactly where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. The dirty air in these high downforce cars, it definitely comes into play. And being the leading car, you definitely have the advantage of not overcooking your tyres.
He has got a slight run onto him down the first section of the Mulsanne Straight. If he gets a good run through the first chicane, we could see an overtake manoeuvre going into the middle part.
Absolutely. I mean, with these cars, the front tyres aren't really the concern, but what tends to happen with the dirty air is that it upsets that front end aero, and you start to get a lot of understeer, and the car becomes very boaty and hard to turn in for the corners, which in turn overheats your front tyres as you're scrubbing them over the track, and it leads to extra front tyre wear. But as I said, and as Carbon Boy said multiple times, the rear tyres are more the concern, not really the fronts. So the drivers can deal with the extra scrubbing on those front tyres, and it's not going to affect them too much in the grand scheme of things. Could Matt Simmons go for a move? He does. Pulls to the inside. This is the move for second place. Gets a whole car length in front of Paul Candidolian. And he moves up to second place overall in the Category 1 final on lap 6. Josh Stewart not too far behind either. As we'll catch that on the Liquid Solutions action replay. As we saw him pull to the inside. Got it done in a straight line. No braking needed. Had enough muscle. Got a good enough exit out of the second chicane. And he takes P2.
I was just watching a little bit of inter-teamwork down the last part of the Mulsanne Straight between Ryan Tane and Xavier Wakefield, with Ryan just returning the bump draft favour down the last part towards the Mulsanne corner. And I think that might have, it was definitely not intentional, but I think the extra speed might have caught out Wakefield as he just went a little bit deep under brakes into that tight right-hander. But it doesn't seem like he's holding any grudges, because down that back straight he has been providing Ryan with a little bit more of a bump draft. So I think he's got the message of, hey, let's work together and we can catch up to Liam Taylor.
Oh!
There's a yellow flag. Someone's gone.
Who is it?
That is me.
Mahindajit.
He has gone in the Porsche curves. He's carrying front right hand damage along with front aero damage. I don't know what's happened there.
We'll catch that on the Liquid Solutions action replay. Was looking good through the Porsche curves. And then, he lost the rear end over correction. And it snapped on him. That is disaster for Mahindajit.
And Candidolian has also pitted.
That must be what we're talking about. Those rear tyres just absolutely melting these on these cars. So we might see a couple of strategies here.
No fuel going in for Candidolian, but he has put on the racing hards.
Ooh, that's very interesting. But is it for 1 lap, or does he stay out for 8 laps on those racing hards? Because there's sort of 3 different strategies that you can think about.
Mahindajit has thrown on a fresh set of racing softs. He's going the 2-stop strategy.
Ooh, and he also clubbers over the curb there.
That was a less than optimal racing line, yes.
Yeah. So there's three sort of strategies that you can go for in this race. The first being the conventional, about 10 or 11 laps on your softs, and then you switch across to the hards and you complete the race on the hard tyre. What you then can do is 7 laps soft, 1 lap hard, but the pit transit time really makes it difficult to make that strategy optimal. But then you can also do the 7 soft, or the 1 hard and then 7 soft again. We can even just extend that hard stint. There's a lot of different strategies that these guys can attempt. And it's interesting to see whether Candonolian comes in at the end of this lap or just sticks it out on those hard tyres.
Just to give the viewers at home an idea of how quick Andrew Lee is pacing himself right now out here, he currently holds the fastest lap of a 3:08.2. His last lap was a 3:08.7, and his 4th lap was a 3:09.2. So with a 3:08.2 as the fastest lap, the next fastest lap out there from any of the drivers is Matt Simmons with a 3:09.8.
Wow.
1.6 seconds.
Andrew Lee is absolutely flying. But did anybody really doubt this from Andrew Lee?
I was hoping that the deficit would not be that much.
As he pits as well. Lap 7.
If that was me out there, I would probably be somewhere in the realm of 10 to 15 seconds a lap behind him.
A lap.
Hey, whoa.
That's what you said.
Oh yeah, per lap, definitely. Okay, as Lee, Simmons and Struck are all into the pits. Now, who's going to do what? Who's going to go the 2-stop? Who's going to go the 1-stop?
I think everyone is doing the 2-stop except for Tame and Wakefield.
Lee's got a little bit of fuel going in. He doesn't want to risk it. He's gone on the racing softs, so he's gone for the 2-stop.
So yeah, so I think at this point, the only ones who will brave it out on the softs, on the hards, sorry, later on in the race, will be Tame and Wakefield, because if they pit this lap, that's kind of compromised their 2-stop strategy. You ideally needed to be pitting on lap 7 to really get the most out of that second set of softs.
Now, I am looking at the clouds around, and there is quite a few dark clouds out there on the horizon.
Absolutely. That could throw the entire race into turmoil, because that would mean effectively Ryan Tame and Xavier Wakefield, if it rains, have got a 20-second gap. Oh, well, actually, it's only a 10-second gap over Lee, but Matty Simmons behind them, that's a 22-second gap.
Now, credit to him, Ryan Tame is currently out there on a completely dead left-hand rear tyre. Like, there is nothing left on that.
He's burned through those tyres very quick.
And young Xavier Wakefield's left-hand rear has just decided to do the leap into oblivion as well. It had a tiny sliver of white as I jumped on board, and then it disappeared. So 8 laps on a set of racing softs is about the upper limit of what you can do.
I want to see what the sector split is here for them. They're only 2 seconds down on their lap times coming through here, but that is the quick part of the lap, if you could say. The technical section of the lap is the latter half of the lap. So I reckon these guys will be well into the 3:14s, maybe even a 3:15 by the time they make it back to the start-finish line. Now, question is, if they've got completely bald tyres, are they going to pit this lap, or are they just going to stick it out and use that extra tyre advantage?
I really wish I had a weather radar available to me, because I can only see what's going on outside the window. And it doesn't look like it's... I'm kind of 50-50 as to whether it's going to rain or not. It's got that look about it, but... Gee, I don't know.
Did Josh
Because
Stewart
if
just
it-
take a trip to the gravel trap?
That's a very good question. You might have to throw up a replay to find that one out.
Let's have a look. He definitely dropped a wheel in, but was it all four? We saw a bit of gravel being thrown onto the circuit as he came through Indianapolis. Let's have a look here.
Ryan Tame and Xavier Wakefield are into the pits.
Ooh, that's
Let's have a
interesting.
look at what they do. Because bearing in mind here, these guys have access to the weather radar. They might be able to see something that we can't. And the mandatory tyre rule does not apply if the track becomes wet and they fit either the intermediate or the wet compound tyre. So that means these guys will not have to run the hard compound tyre.
By
A
the
little bit of fuel going
Ryan-
into the
Oh,
goat.
they've gone the hards. So we have alternate strategies going on here.
And Wakefield has jumped Ryan in that pit stop.
Oh, Liam Tate!
Taking it.
He's gone deep.
Takes that little bit less fuel. Manages to jump Ryan.
So
We've got
here's
the two
the
tame
thing.
guys. With
Safe.
Wakefield being the meat in the sandwich.
So, yeah, Xavier Wakefield and Ryan Tame, they've got a pit stop in hand now as they've fulfilled the mandatory tyres if they run these tyres till the end. And everybody else in front has to pit. So that means Liam Tame needs to make up 20 seconds. Josh Stewart needs to make up 13 seconds. I mean, this could be a good strategy from Xavier Wakefield and Ryan Tame.
That's if it does not rain.
Yeah, that's true. Let's have a look at what happened to Liam Tame here. As he approached the first turn, we see Wakefield and Ryan Tame exiting the pits. And what happened? He was deep on the brakes and, oh, he's just ran very deep and, yeah, used a bit of the runoff there.
But the difference between the racing soft tyres and the racing hard tyres on this circuit was made very obvious with how quickly Liam managed to skip away from Wakefield.
And Mahindajit as well. Mahindajit was behind Ryan and Xavier Wakefield, and he's just skipped past them in a matter of corners.
In a car of this caliber, a compound difference is huge.
Quite
As
often,
Mahindajit goes purple,
that's actually very interesting.
he's not here to muck about by the look of it. He's got a low fuel, pretty fresh soft tyre situation. He's not here to muck about.
Absolutely. As Simmons and Struick are still going at it, I believe Candonolian took an extra stop, so he is all the way down in 12th place. But he is good to go to the end, I'm pretty sure, while everyone else needs to take an extra pit stop.
Yes, Candonolian has already done his required stint on the hard tyres.
Back up front, it's a 13-second gap for Andrew Lee ahead of Matty Simmons there. Josh Struick still a second astray of Matthew Simmons. He's not given up either. Josh Struick is just within touching distance of Matthew Simmons and a bit more than touching distance away from Andrew Lee.
As Andrew Lee has just dropped a 3:07.937.
Oh, that is disgustingly quick from Andrew Lee.
Although not far behind him, Matty Simmons has dropped a 3:08.413.
Xavier Wakefield's back in, so he's ditching the hard tyre. One lap is enough for him. But I think
And
Ryan
Josh-
Tame is going to brave it out on the hard tyre.
Josh Struick has done a 3:08.326 and is currently purple through the first sector.
Yeah, that's a very quick lap for Josh Struick as well. Matthew Simmons a couple of tenths slower than Struick on the last lap. But these guys, yeah, they're not too far off Andrew Lee in this stint. That first stint was a very slow compared to Andrew Lee. It seems like Candonolian held these guys up towards the start. They weren't able to unleash their full pace with the dirty air. But Andrew Lee is purple once again as well.
Mahindajit dropped a 3:08.069 on that previous lap and has unfortunately picked up a half a second penalty somewhere along the line.
That's a quick lap from Mahindajit. That is definitely within touching distance of Andrew Lee's fastest lap. He is purple, but he will have to. Yeah, he will have to serve the penalty though. So,
bit of a shame. The weather's still looking rather threatening. It's got that. Am I going to rain or am I not going to kind of look about it?
Yeah. So I think Ryan Tame at this point, he's 33 seconds off Andrew Lee, and he's about 20 seconds off Matt Simmons. That pit stop for all the guys in front of him is going to be about a 30-second stop because of the fuel needed to put in the car. If Ryan Tame can hold this gap for about the next 4 laps, if he can keep that within about 10 seconds, he has a real opportunity to pressure these guys and make up a bunch of positions with his strategy. I don't think he's under threat of losing the position to Aidan Matthews behind. Gap is sitting at about 10.5 seconds at the moment, and Matthews is on the soft tyre, isn't he?
Matty Simmons is definitely on the racing soft tyre.
Aidan Matthews.
Sorry, Aidan Matthews. I heard Matthew.
There's so many Matthews.
He's also on the racing soft tyre.
If you guys remember back to MAGTEC 2023, we had heat number 3 at Road Atlanta, and it had we nicknamed it the Matthew heat because you had Matthew Simmons, Aidan Matthews, and I think we had about 6 people with the first name or last name of Matthews in that heat of about 8 people, which I find funny.
I'm confused enough with 2 Tames. I wouldn't be able to function in that kind of heat.
Yeah. As Andrew Lee sets another fastest lap of the race, a 7.7. Matty Simmons also sets a 7.7. So does Josh Truick a 7.7. Liam Tamer 9.5 and Gopi Manjit 9.7.
This is all getting a bit mental, guys. Like, wow.
The track is definitely evolving very, very quickly. The evolution of this track from the greasy start that we had really coming alive. The sun's out, the track temp is rising, but we see a couple of clouds off in the distance that are looking quite threatening.
The sky is definitely looking a lot more blue than it was a lap and a half ago.
Ryan Tame holding
like
that gap
to
9 seconds. Yeah, for now at least it is. Ryan Tame holding 9 seconds over Aidan Matthews at the moment. I think if he can stay ahead of Aidan Matthews before the stop, that's ideal for Ryan Tame. He's going to have to make up a bunch of spots. Well, also on that final lap, if he's within touching distance of the guys ahead of him, that's perfect for Tame because he'll have those hards warmed up while they have to warm up their hards. The hards take about 2 laps to fully get warmed up, and you're about a second or 2 off the pace, where Ryan Tame, he will have had brilliant condition hards, and he'll be able to just sweep past him if any opportunity presents itself. I think for sure Ryan Tame will be making up a bunch of positions when the stop comes, if that gap stays reasonably low.
If he can hold his times about where he is now to the guys in front of him, whose racing soft tyres will starting to be dropping off sometime soon, as Struck's going for a move on Simmons.
He is too, gets it done in a straight line.
Simmons just backs off a little bit, doesn't want to press the argument too much through Indianapolis.
Just use the slipstream. And then just swept on by. Around the outside too, but it's not worth much when it's a straight line.
But as I was saying, if Ryan Tame can sort of hold his lap times around where they are at the moment, and the guys in front of him on those racing softs, their times will start to sort of slow down that little bit. They'll prove me wrong on that, but that's my prediction. In the pit stop, when those guys have to throw on the required racing hard tyres, and in that lap where they're on dead cold tyres, he's every chance for a podium in this race.
Andrew Lee doesn't improve on that last lap. Josh Stewart goes a second quicker at the top of the times. A 6.5. What
Get
on
out.
earth?
Just get... We are dealing with people who are not human, I swear. I mean, that's not a complaint. That's just an observation.
An observation, exactly.
Wow.
Andrew
Here
Lee.
I was thinking a 3:07 was mentally quick, but that... And he's gone purple again through the... Holy... Pardon me for a second. I need to go get some profanity out of my system.
So it looks like Josh Stewart was being held at bay by Matty Simmons, but he used the slipstream to get by and then went a second purple at the top of the times. Absolutely incredible from Josh Stewart there. So we look back to Liam Tame. He's under a lot of pressure from Mahindajit. I think Liam Tame might be short fuel. He's running very slowly. What's the fuel situation for Liam Tame?
The fuel situation is good. He's on about a third of a tank, but he is carrying some front aero and front right-hand wheel damage, so he's had a moment somewhere.
Yeah, that's very interesting, but Mahindajit...
Got a replay of that by any chance?
I don't think it goes back far enough, unfortunately.
Oh, bugger. Looks like... You know what? I don't know. He might have gotten a bit sideways coming on to the Mulsanne Straight and just clipped, had a sketchy moment and ended up in the right-hand wall.
Yeah,
that's the best guess I've got.
But Mahindajit, who was facing the wrong way back on lap number 6. No, it wasn't lap... Yeah, it was lap 6.
Although...
Is now
on the
facing
fuel
the right way on 4th.
situation, someone who is in the fuel situation is Mahindajit, who does have the fuel light flashing. So he's going to have to be very careful whether he comes in for fuel on this lap or has to nurse it around for another lap. Yeah, that's not going to go well. Hopefully he's got an eye on the fuel gauge.
Yeah, I mean, he did 6 laps in the first stint. He's on lap 12 now, so he's probably thinking of coming in this lap or the next lap to seek out the hard tyres. But we saw this in MAGTEC 2023, where other drivers were only using the hardest compound for 1 lap. Mahindajit on this current strategy, while others are using it for 1, he's going to have to use that for 3 laps. And he's going to lose a bucket load of time doing so.
He doesn't really have much of a choice in the matter unless he wants to do a 3-stop race. And I'm no strategy expert, but I would not recommend that. I thought Stewart was doing a little bit of a pit move as he's dropped Matt Simmons to the tune of 3.6 seconds.
That's naughty, Andrew. He saw Josh Stewart set 6.5, and Lee said, yeah, and Lee just decided to go set a 6.3.
And he's done that in clean air.
Yep.
That's beyond disgusting. Hang on, let me consult the thesaurus. One moment.
Andrew Lee needs to be put in a lab and studied for how fast he is.
That is diabolical. Oh, and here we go. Mahindajit is in the pits with 5% fuel left. Josh Law with 8% fuel. Presumably both drivers will be putting on the hard compound tyre. As Mahindajit does. Law is just about to hit the pit box.
So on exit as well, Mahindajit and Wakefield took a lap on the hards on lap 9. So he's got those tyres all warmed up. And as you can see, he's right up Mahindajit's rear end.
Wakefield is currently on the racing softs.
Oh, of course he is, yes. So yeah, he'll definitely be much pacier than Mahindajit.
He did his 1 required lap on the racing hards, pitted, and said, thank you very much, goodbye, I'll have those sticky tyres back, thank you.
Yep.
And
So Aiden
unfortunately,
Matthews is still catching Ryan Tame. 3 seconds the gap currently. He's got Ryan Tame has 15 seconds up to Liam Tame. So things are looking good
playing
still
it
for
smart
Tame.
there, actually. Saw Wakefield, obviously figured Wakefield was on the faster tyre than him. Did a little bit of a bump draft because he's probably going to want to hang on to Wakefield's slipstream as long as possible to catch up to Butler in front of him, who is on a very well-worn set of racing softs. So he's got enough fuel. He's probably got enough rubber left to see him to the end of lap 14, where he will need to pit for his required tyres.
Yeah. So the people who still need to pit are Lee, Struick, Simmons, Liam Tame, Aiden Matthews.
Correct. Camden Olean is good.
Colin Butler needs to
needs
pit.
to pit.
And I think
Lung
that's it.
is on the hards at the moment, so he's good to go. Green is on the hards as well, as is Law. So, yep, just those other guys.
So that is all.
And if they don't pit, there will be a 1-minute penalty waiting for them at the end of the race. So
Yeah.
I would highly recommend it.
Which, judging by Andrew Lee's times at the moment, a 7-1. The pace drop-off is starting to... As I say that, he goes purple. But the pace drop-off seems to be coming into effect now, right on the cusp. They'll have to do one more lap on these wearing tyres. And then I'll pit for a hard. But as it stands, Ryan Tame, 2.7 seconds, 2.8 seconds back to Aiden Matthews. So I think as long as Ryan Tame can stay ahead of Aiden Matthews, that's definitely that's Ryan Tame good to go. But 17 seconds up to Liam Tame, he'll get that spot, and then he's got okay. So I think Ryan Tame might only actually get one position out of this, but it'll be one position up on where. Well, it would be quite a few positions up on where it would be, because if he did the same as Wakefield, it would be all the way down in P9. As we see penalties all over the circuit. Wakefield with a penalty. Hindajit with a penalty. Any more? Potentially. No, it might just be those two. Yeah, I think so. Just those two. Andrew Lee comes through the Mulsanne curve. Famous hairpin at the top of the circuit. With a 15-second lead, I think Andrew Lee can just take it a little bit easy now. Just make sure he gets the car home.
I don't think he knows the meaning of that.
That's very true.
I'm convinced he doesn't know the meaning of back off.
There aren't many
Stroop
battles
is now formed out a 4.2 gap to Simmons. He's got 16 seconds back to Liam Tame. He's got 18 seconds to Ryan Tame.
Which Aiden Matthews is close right up to Ryan Tame here.
But Matthews is running on the fuel light, and that left-hand rear racing soft is not a happy camper. So, and he is going to have to pit at the end of this lap if he doesn't want that 1-minute penalty. So, if Ryan can just keep him at bay for the rest of this lap, he should be good to go.
Andrew Lee's in. Josh Struick will peel into the pits as well. Matty Simmons 2. And it will be Liam Tame next to peel into the pits.
Simmons. Matty Simmons has just gone into the pits.
Yeah.
Only 1% fuel difference between him and Struik and Lee in front of him. That's near enough the same.
So where does Ryan Tame come out? He has Aidan Matthews directly behind him. He's not going to be out in front of Andrew Lee. He's not going to be out in front of Josh Stewart, who chucks on a hard tyre.
Oh, he's really pushing through the forward curves. Oh, and he's got a half-second penalty. Oh, what a... That's a problem.
But he is going to come out ahead of Liam Tame. So that's one position gain there. And Liam Tame's chucked on an
Liam Tame's
inter.
got the inters. Yeah,
Radar.
look, that's good. If the track is not wet, that means you are going to get a 1-minute penalty.
Yeah, but is it going to rain? That's the big question. Like, if there's rain on the...
thing.
Oh, Aidan Matthews has also put on inters. The rain has come onto the radar. This could be more last lap chaos if there's rain.
There was a fair bit of contact there between Wakefield
it's
and
raining!
Liam Tame. Oh my!
What a grandstand finish here at Le Mans. There is rain on the circuit. Liam Tame has chucked on the wet tyres. So has Aidan Matthews. But Xavier Wakefield is pressuring Liam Tame for 5th place. Is it going to be enough rain to warrant the wets? It's bucketing down now.
At the moment, it's about halfway through the first third, getting...
my goodness.
It's into the second third now. It's quite moist. That is definitely enough to justify the intermediate tyre.
So Liam Tame might just get this position back on Ryan Tame by checking his radar and seeing the incoming rain. It didn't do him any justice in heat number 1. But in the Category 1 final, Liam Tame has chucked on the wets. He's not going to make the same mistake he did at the start of yesterday. Somebody's facing the wrong way.
That there is
That's Xavier
no
Wakefield.
traction control available. Somebody's binned it. Or Matty Simmons
off the track.
And Ryan Tame have lost it.
They're all off the track. Josh Struik is going very slow. So Liam Tame could even get first place here.
Oh, Struik's looped it twice, three times. Yep, just a 1080. Whoa, this could be a masterstroke for Liam Tame.
He's up into the podium places now. There's a yellow flag. He's going to fly by Josh Struik. Into Indianapolis now. Andrew Lee, he's got a 40-second gap, but that is going to diminish very, very quickly. It's going to be he's going to crawl towards the start-finish line. Liam Tame now, 30 seconds. Ryan Tame has a penalty. Matthew Simmons is in 4th place. Josh Struik is in 5th. Aidan Matthews is going to sweep on by as well. Andrew Lee through the Porsche curves now. It's a battle against the clock. The finish line cannot come through soon enough. 18 seconds. Liam Tame is pushing like a madman. He hits the wall. That might come with a penalty.
He's done damage.
Andrew Lee spun. He's pointing the wrong way. Liam Tame is going to come through and he's going to take P1 from Andrew Lee in the dying moments of this race. Absolutely incredible.
There's going to be a lot of screaming going on under the helmets of these drivers. There's going to be a lot of unhappy campers.
He rounds the final corner and against all odds comes home to take P1. What a drive from Liam Tame. Somehow has put on the wet tyres and he's come home to take first place. Andrew Lee, the fastest driver out on track all day, just caught out by the time the rain hit. He was already halfway down the Mulsanne and he's going to cross the start-finish line. The valiant effort, but he'll come home in 2nd place. Aidan Matthews from 6th on the grid will come home and take 3rd with Paul Cantinolian in 4th. He was sitting in last place. Oh, Aidan Matthews had a penalty. Paul Cantinolian. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, okay, because of the mandatory tyres. That makes sense. Okay, Connor Butler up into 5th. It will be Ryan Tame into 6th. He has a 6.5 second penalty. What on earth? Ryan Tame. He's getting overtaken by Josh Struick on the line. And Matthew Simmons. Oh, and they cross the line. All three of them spinning in unison. Connor Butler. Oh no, it will be Samuel Lung who crosses the line. Josh Green will be next to cross the line, but he can't keep it in a straight line.
Well, we're going to have to do some work with these results to eliminate these penalties, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So,
Joshua Law will cross the line.
I'm going to need a minute.
Xavier Wakefield, he's going to come home in 12th place, unfortunately. And Gopi Mahindajit, after such a promising race, he's only going to come home with a last place.
Oof.
Rounds the final few corners here, Wakefield. And into the gravel trap. Struggling for traction, he crosses the line. Will be Gopi Mandajit, the last driver to cross the line. It's not been a good weekend for the Prema driver. Finished 3rd in MAGTEC 2023, but the rain has done him no favours here. The GT gods can be cruel sometimes. And he spins out through the Porsche curves. He's full throttle and he's still sliding backwards. There's just no traction, too much horsepower on slicks. And that's all she wrote. So, I believe Liam Tame has won that race.
Like I said, I'm going to need a minute and not a minute penalty, but actually, no, that was a whole bunch easier than I thought it would be. It's working out the lower positions with some minute penalties with Matthews and Butler. But
so here's the race results for the Category 1 final. Liam Tame, this is good. Okay, bear with us. The results screen looks a bit funny. But Liam Tame finishes P1. We have Andrew Lee, who is 2nd. Paul Candinolian in 3rd. Matthew Simmons 4th. Josh Struick 5th. Samuel Lung... Wait, no, hang on. Okay. Wait. Okay, yeah. So, Aiden Matthews is... Okay, I genuinely cannot do this. Okay, so Aiden Matthews.
Hang on, I'm currently. You just talk about something else. I am
All
currently
right.
working with my old-fashioned pen and paper.
Thank you, Carver boy. All right, that was extremely dramatic, but that's wow, what an end to the Category 1 final. We saw lots of moments up and down the grid. Andrew Lee, it was looking certain. And then, out of nowhere, the rain hit and it caught him out, caught him off guard, and he only finished 2nd. Yes, Ghosts, maths is very hard. That was
Yep. I'm dusting off
fun.
the abacus here. This is not fun at all.
So if it's Ryan Tame P1 on 44 seconds down, then it was Andrew Lee. Then we've got Aiden Matthews, who is 1 minute 7 behind, which puts him 23 seconds. So that's... Okay. Liam Tame, Andrew Lee, Aiden Matthews, Connor Butler, Camden Nolian, No. I honestly cannot. This hurts my head. Okay, well, anyways, guys, place your Driver of the Day nominations below, and we'll see what we can do about the results. What we do know for sure is that Liam Tame crossed the line in first place, and he is the winner of the event. So, Brocky in chat reckons it's Liam, Andrew, Aiden. But is it? Okay.
Yes. Just bear with me a few more seconds, and I got this. I'm finishing out the order.
What have you got for us, Carbon Boy? Wowee, that was some brilliant racing that we saw at Circuit de la Sarthe, and it all culminated in absolute chaos when the rain hit. All right, Carbon Boy, what have you got?
Provisional results pending further verification, but from my terrible maths and writing, P1, Liam Tame. P2, Aidan Matthews. P3, Butler. Cannot remember his first name. I'm struggling. Then we have P4, Lee. P5, Candidolian. P6, Simmons. P6, Stroop. P7, Lung. P8, Ryan Tame. P9, Green. P10, Law. P11, Wakefield. P12, Mahindajit. And I'm missing a P13.
I'm fairly sure Andrew Lee crossed the line second. I think you said he was fifth. So it was Liam Tame, Andrew Lee, Aidan Matthews, Paul Candidolian, Connor Butler. Top 5. Regardless, we will sort that out.
We need to work this out. Give me a minute.
We will sort that out. But for now, place your Driver of the Days down below. Who do you think your Driver of the Day is, Carbon Boy?
No comment.
No comment. I think I'm going to give my Driver of the Day to Andrew Lee. He drove absolutely perfectly, and that is just, it's just motorsport to be so unlucky that the rain hit at the time that it did. And unfortunately, he finishes second place in a race that looked like his the entire way through. Yeah, that's just so unfortunate for Andrew Lee. But I'm going to give him my Driver of the Day if it's any consolation. Not seeing many Driver of the Day nominations down below. Make sure you chuck them in, guys. We need Drivers of the Day. I see Womble there. I said Womble. Okay, Womble. Well, you said somewhere. The Ghost has said Driver of the Day, the weather. And Tricky says Andrew Lee for sure. I pay that actually. Ghost. Driver of the Day, weather. Yeah, wow. So it's so funny. At the start of the competition, you saw Andrew Lee, who was far enough ahead that the rain didn't really stop him and he was able to take P1 in heat number 1. And then you saw Liam Tame that it ended in absolute disaster for his heat. But then in the final, we saw Liam Tame take the win and Andrew Lee's race end in disaster. As we see, Captain Muffin says Driver of the Day, the weather as well. I think Driver of the Day, it's close between Andrew Lee and the weather. Which, I don't know whether the weather is even on the ballot form. I don't know whether that goes under an other category or something, but yeah, that's, we see some more for Andrew Lee. Captain Risky says Andrew Driver of the Day, not a question. Robert Rice, A. Lee. Yeah, it's pretty unanimous. Andrew Lee, Driver of the Day. But yeah, I think that's everything we've got for this event. I just want to thank everybody, all the viewers for showing up and supporting the live stream. All the drivers for hitting the track, giving it a go. both the guys in the Category 1 final and the Category 2 final. It's nice to see them all coming out and having a go, having a red-hot crack, and putting on some great racing action. You love to see it. And lastly, special thanks to all of our race directors for the event. We had Carbon Boy, Captain Muffin, John, Black Friday, and Snake Eyes. I almost forgot about Snake Eyes. But thank you for everybody for rocking up. We wouldn't be able to put this on without the race directors who are out volunteering their time. So thank you, Carbon Boy, if you're still there.
I am still here.
Yeah.
It was my pleasure. I honestly was not expecting to witness such a turn of events that we did tonight in the event, but you know, it's how the dice are rolled, how the cookie crumbles. Insert cliche here.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the amount of wet weather we've had in this event is crazy, considering that it's almost a 1 in 40 chance that it rains in any capacity, and it rained 3 times.
Timing is certainly impeccable.
Absolutely. We started this race wet and we ended it wet. That is just absolutely incredible. As Brocky's gone into chat and he said, the weather for Prime Minister. And I think that's the call of the century. So thank you everybody for rocking up. We'll be in touch with the winners for their prizes over the next couple of days. But anything else to say before we sign things off tonight, Carbon Boy?
Thank you everyone for tuning in for the action over last night and tonight. We couldn't do it without the viewers. Well, we could, but you guys make it so much more fun. Thanks to all the race directors, yourself for streaming. Thank you to all of the drivers for entering, coming along, and hopefully having some fun along the way. And
yeah,
also
absolutely.
a big thank you to Motorsport Australia as well for giving us this opportunity to present such an event.
Yeah, absolutely. They're the ones who have helped us put on this event. And yeah, it's the second year running now that we've held this event. And yeah, there's been some brilliant racing action over the past 2 years. So hopefully we can continue to see the brilliant on-track action in years to come. But thank you everybody for joining us tonight. If you haven't already, make sure to smash the like button so you don't miss out. Or, well, actually, you need to subscribe to the channel to not miss out on any of the action. We'll be back in a couple of weeks for... Oh, well, 1 week, because the awards night is next week for Season 8. The awards night is always a fun night. We see everybody getting, having a couple of beers into them and a bit of fun racing action on track, fun races and some serious races. And, of course, we crown the champions and the MVPs of Sector 1. So join us for next week for the awards night. And then a couple of weeks after that, we start things off with the Season 9 season in Sector 1, which will be in the BMW M3. So all the teams and drivers are hard at work to get ready for Season 9. So we've got a busy, packed streaming schedule over the next couple of weeks. So we would love to see you all back here once again over the next few weeks for a couple of laughs and some great on-track racing action. But for now, that's Lenosis and Carbon Boy signing off the Motorsport Australia Gran Turismo Esports Challenge of 2024. Bye, guys.